Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 2 of the Blue Otter League's Platinum Edition. We are here with a fantastic game today between GSG Sigma and Revolution Ice Age. Both of these are in the 1-0 bracket and looking to keep this into a streak. I'm Nyarko, and I'm here today with Feedonomics. Feedonomics, we are right here in the draft phase, and what do you think about these bans so far?
I mean, they're looking pretty standard so far. You have Zeri and Trundle on the side of GSG Sigma, following up with Kaisa, and then Aurelia and Vigar on the side for RIA. I kind of looking at it, Jinx getting banned out as well. Here we go into picks. I don't know. I find them all pretty simple. Nobody likes a cage. Alistar getting locked in for Sigma though.
That is
So
a very quick rush for an Alistar pick. That obviously is a champion that is going to be going into the support role and will allow for a pretty flexible bot lane, frankly. Alistar, obviously, through the work of Helicopter, has been known to roam across the map, set up plays around places, use Hex Flash to get over walls to navigate really quickly, but can also just kind of work as an engaged support focused more on the bot lane there. So this kind of uncertainty that it'll establish will lead to a first pick of a support on the side of RAA as well. This time the Pike getting locked in, followed up by what looks to be a Corki here. Pike also going to be a really strong engaged champ, has the ability to roam with the speed boost given by the W. Corki is just a pretty notorious mid laner right now alongside Victor. Those two have been tearing up the rift, been doing a lot of damage, scales fantastically into the late game, and has incredible disruptive potential with the package.
yeah, no, I find the Corky pick to be a very much a if it's not broke, don't fix it scenario. So like if you have the ability to lock him in, go for it. Though I'm afraid picking him this early kind of leads to an opportunity on him getting counterpicked a little bit easier by the rest of the comp. And on the other side, we do seem to have our AD carry. It looks like it's gonna be Ezreal Alistar bot lane.
Yeah, and so it looks like right now for GSG Sigma, you have Pepsi of Time on the Ezreal, YYDS, locking in that Alistar, going to be a lane that has the potential to go in on champions, Arcadian shifting forward to follow up on Headbutt Pulverize. But I think that a lot of the tempo of this lane is going to be decided by the jungle pick going forward here, as a mid laner is going to be locked in as the final of the first set of picks for GSG here. Syndra, obviously a fantastic choice. What do you think about that into the Corki, though?
Uh, I mean, it's not going to be able to roam anywhere near as well. I know that much for sure. But I do think the kill potential's there for Syndra to get one up on Corky. I know that he's got rockets coming by, but Syndra's balls are just going to really hurt.
Syndra's balls do in fact hurt, and Corky will be struggling in this early game a little bit. We'll have to play pretty safe, and it looks like we're getting a Gwen solidifying the first three picks on the side of RIA. Gwen, obviously a fantastic flex, can go into the jungle, can go into the top lane, but has definitely been seeing a little bit more success there as a scaling top laner with the ability to split push really well in recent times. Where do you think it's going to be going this time around, Feedonomics?
I'm gonna guess that it's a top lane. Like I haven't seen it flex too often myself. And I do think that she fits a little bit or better up there than in the jungle. But two more picks to figure it out. Samira getting banned out on the side of GSG, just trying to take away an 80 carry from the other team, and it looks like Trindamere. Like so it's kind of the same idea on both sides. It was lock out like the top lane and then lock out a couple of ADs on the last couple of bands, and then Lee Sin finishing out the bands. So maybe they snuff something out. They don't want to deal with that ward hop kick combo. No,
Yeah,
nobody
Lee
likes it.
Sin, very dominant as an early game jungler, has been for years now, and always a favorite of high elo play, like we're seeing in the games today. Obviously, Gwen is also a champion that can struggle in the early game, and if they get whittled down a little bit too low, Trindamere's propensity to tower dive can become an issue. So I like the ban coming out of Royal right here. We move or Revolution right here as we go to a Yorick. So it actually looks like we're
Yeah.
most likely getting that Gwen jungle as we talked about before. Mordekaiser being locked in by GSG Sigma, going to be probably going into that top lane, but also a notable flex pick of their own.
Yeah, I mean, all right. So I was wrong the first time, and Gwen is probably going to end up being the jungler. But I'm definitely was going to be right if I was going to pick Mordekaiser for the top lane. Like, because if he would have also just been a jungler, like I don't know what I would have done. I would have been excited, but I at the same time I would have been very confused. That being said, does Mordekaiser take Gwen's circle with him whenever he ults her?
I'm
And
actually not sure about that interaction, but that being said, if Mordekaiser is close enough to get the ultimate onto Gwen, I think that it is probably the case that the Hallowed Mist won't be doing a whole lot against the bonkening that will be occurring there
Mhm.
in that death realm. We had a few flips on the AD carry, and ultimately it looks like Revolution Ice Age is going to be locking in the Callista here. The Aphelios was being hovered early, and I may have personally preferred to have seen that champion, just something that has been hotly contested in pro play. Obviously, Gumayusi there in the LCK has been playing that champion to perfection, and I would love to see it combined with the early game aggression of the Pike. But Callista, also kind of the poster child for an early game aggressive ADC, will be able to get a lot of damage down in lane. But the real question is going to be, is the peel from Alistar and the ability for Ezreal to play far back going to be enough to prevent the Callista from scaling and snowballing?
I I personally think that it will be. The other thing that we haven't thought about really is the peel that pulling someone into the death realm also provides. Your AD carry can't die if they're not in the same realm of existence, you know?
Yeah, and notably here, I think that the Kalista does bring some synergy with Pike, given the ultimate here. Pike being thrown straight into the field, being able to immediately E after being released from the R, can look to chain R of their own. That's a lot of value and the propensity for a high level of damage coming out from the side of Revolution Ice Age. GSG Sigma, on the other hand, are looking to play four picks, at least at first. Mordekaiser, obviously the ultimate pick champion, can walk right into a team fight and turn that into a pick for himself with the R right there. Kha'Zix's a fantastic assassin, and Alistar, as we said before, has the ability to roam, has the ability to set up really crazy ganks over walls and knock people into towers, things like that. So, with that in mind, the tempo of both sides is going to be fascinating to view as we move deeper on into this game. At the end here, Feedonomics, now that we're getting everything solidified and we have it confirmed that Shanghai on the side of RIA is going to be taking that York into the top lane and Levy will be on the Gwen. How are you feeling about these comps overall, and who do you think has the upper hand?
That's kind of a tough one. I would say it's a tough one for me to just decide based off of picks and bans with just sort of not quite being in Blue Otter League long enough to tell who's going to have the more dominant approach to the other team. Um, but just looking at comps and kind of thinking who I think would be a little stronger. Honestly, I think I'll give game one to RIA. The other upside about having a Callista with your Pike is not only engage, but disengage. So it's going to allow the Pike to be rather aggressive and maybe do some things that he shouldn't be able to get away with. And then, just turn into a soul and get pulled out. I expect to see that once or twice. I want to see Pike get really aggressive, go in, ult, get a kill, and then get saved by Callista.
There's definitely a chance that we'll be seeing Pike getting rescued from the jaws of death over and over again by MXL there on the Callista, using the ultimate in order to do so. But Killatron has had a lot of games on Pike in the past and probably is pretty confident with how they are going to approach fights. Hopefully, we'll be seeing those ults used for aggression, used to pick up team fights and kills for the side of Revolution. Now, notably, Yorick here is perhaps the only champion that doesn't really incorporate to the rest of the team fighting propensity that we see out of Ice Age. Obviously, Yorick is kind of a notorious split pushing champion, trying to get
Mhm.
that Nexus down at 15 minutes, as it were. And the fact that we're in a meta game right now where you have that rush of the hole breaker there in the top lane means that he's going to be an ever more present and strong threat here in this game, especially if he looks to get ahead early.
Yeah, though that kind of brings up the next question is if you have all your bonus stats from Hullbreaker and then you're ulted by Mordekaiser, do you give Mordekaiser the juice stats?
You are
Is
asking questions that a silver player unfortunately does not know,
I'm
but I
gonna
guess we'll be
I
seeing how
mean,
this plays
I'm
out
sorry.
here.
These are just the platinum shower thoughts that I have while I'm sitting here watching games. Because I mean, honestly, I think you do. It's the same way that like when a Mordekaiser gets ulted by another Mordekaiser, or my favorite champion Silas. You borrow all those stats, like they're yours now. So there's maybe a little bit of counterplay there, but yeah, Yorick's just gonna sit there and try and spend all day like on his own with his ghost buddies. Like him and his maiden are gonna hang out in the top lane or the bottom lane. Just he's gonna pretend to be Dr. Mundo. He's gonna go where he pleases, right?
And where he
Um,
pleases is most likely going to be wherever is farthest from the rest of his
it's gonna
team.
be the opposite side of the map from his team. He's just he's gonna be playing. He's gonna be like, look, I have a team on my own with three of my ghoul buddies and the maiden. Please let me play my own game of solitaire League of Legends.
It's a true party up there, a party of one to be sure. All right, everyone. For those of you just turning in, we are about to head into game one between GSG Sigma and Revolution Ice Age here. They are both 1-0 here in week 2 of the Blue Otter League. So make sure you don't go anywhere. This is sure going to be a banger of a set. We're going to take it to a quick break. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. This is the first game we have here between GSG Signa and Revolution Ice Age, and we have a clustering of
Oh,
RIA up here on the top side of the map. Spear going to
that
come through, a
flash.
flash going to be pulled out from YYDS.
That's probably not the best for a Mordekaiser early when you have to deal with the circle. But well played by Revolution Ice Age there to sneak that one out.
Yeah, given the fact that we didn't get a pike hook coming through there, that was probably the best you could have hoped for. RIA definitely starting off with that summoner spell advantage in the top lane. Going to be really valuable for Shanghai. As throughout the rest of the map, it looks like we're going to start getting a pretty basic opening strategy on either side. Perhaps both people deciding to start on the bot side is going to lead to some drama as that scuttle crab spawns on the top right there. But as for now, this is basically what's expected. Gwen starting blue, and we have the Kazakhs on red.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, go figure that both champions would start on the same bottom side, but like you were saying, that fight that's going to happen most likely at top scuttle. I wonder if that lack of flash is going to come into play.
Yeah, as you said before, the cage that you're able to put out as York going to be really valuable now. There's going to be a premium on landing that if we do get a fight going on right there. There's also obviously by both people rotating top the potential for a gank,
Oh,
as it looks like YYDS is unperturbed by the fact that they are missing flash. Gonna get that York already down to about
oh.
half health.
Yeah, he's gonna have to pop one of his pots uh to try and do anything, but loses the early level advantage, and he's just sort of getting bullied.
Yeah, the fact that he's now down to one corrupting potion charge left and is down that level still means that first wave is going to be crashing into the tower on the top side of the map. Meanwhile, here at the bot, we're seeing about what we were expecting. Pike obviously playing in front of the wave right there, trying to get a pick off, and if not, at least get this wave continually pushed in. It does look like we have some drama here at the top side, though. Levy already going to go pretty low,
Oh,
trying to take that red buff down. Kazakh's in the area. That assassin going to be doing a lot of damage as we get some trades down here at the bot side of the map as well. Gwen going to be utilizing Flash to get away. That is one of the few times where when you're playing Gwen, you are happy to take that summoner spell over something like the teleport, over something like the ignite.
yeah, and I mean, Gasyop tried to flash in kind and just didn't quite have enough damage to catch up with the slow from spikes.
Yeah, and
Um,
speaking of flashes up here in the top lane, Shanghai getting the cage down onto YYDS, who is going pretty low, shielding right here, but also that grab that came out of the Mordekaiser forced Shanghai to even up the lane by dropping the flash of their own back towards tower. It looks like both people are pretty low and are going to opt to take the back right here. The hook going to come out, going to grab the Alistar down here on the bot side of the map. The Headbutt
ooh,
Pulverize coming out, but that E is going to get a stun. That's a lot of damage traded back onto Bean Credit right here in the bot side lane. RA coming out a little bit ahead on that trade, and another hook gonna land this time on
easy.
Pepsi of time. Gonna have to walk back here. The Arcane Shift coming in handy right there, keeping that in line and keeping the Ezreal alive. This is a lot of drama already. Pretty scrappy fights going on throughout the map right now.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's already good to be watching a League of Legends match, right? Early vision dropped up on GSG Sigma side by RIA just to make sure. Like keep him honest is what they're aiming for there mainly, I think. And is Pike gonna go for another hook? Not yet.
Yeah, Pike down here definitely being in terror on the bot side of the map. It is notable that given what we saw coming out of
Mhm.
the drama between Gassiop and Levy is honestly not down too much CS. Obviously, it's a bummer to lose that flash, lose that red buff, but they did get a good invade onto Kazakh's chickens and in turn have gotten a little bit of value back. Things are looking pretty even. Obviously, Kazakhs is going to be dominant in this early game against someone that scales as hard as the Gwen, and now with the Hex Drake spawning, it'll be interesting to see whether or not we're going to see GSG Sigma translate that into an early neutral objective.
Yeah, and the other thing that I just kind of noticed about the bot lane matchup, Ezreal's good at disjoining hooks and pulls of that nature. He just did it with his Arcane Flux, or his Arcane Shift, to bounce away from the last dagger that landed from Pike.
Yeah, Revolution Ice Age, though, playing very far up in that bot lane, trying to be as aggressive as possible to match that. We're getting the flash away right here. ZZ going to get killed right here. First blood going over to the side of GSG Sigma. That strength that we talked about early game with the Syndra versus Corki means that even with the flash expended, the man in the gyrocopter is not going to be getting out. And now look at the top lane here. YYDS landing a really good pull down onto Shanghai, evening up that trade in the top side of the map. That Mordekaiser being a terror right now.
Yeah, we'll see if well, no, Levy just got spotted out by that seeker plant, so we're probably not gonna see them trying to act. As the other scuttle just goes back to Gachop. I'm pretty sure he's got 2-1 now. And I think from the second one onward, they start being worth regular money again. So that's it's not doing the best. It's either money or experience. I can't remember off the top of my head what that change was.
Yeah, that early experience, basically the same as like a caster minion there for the early scuttle crabs. So definitely de-emphasizing the like ability to fight over that, which is kind of what defined the 2020 and 2021 season to a pretty great extent, honestly. Definitely a big change and has led to some big macro adjustments, especially in these coordinated types of games here, as we see this coalescing of
Early
members
Dragons?
of RIA down there around the dragon here, trying to fight against Bean Critter right here. Levy going to be able to E over the wall right there. The stun coming through. It looks like Alistar is going to have to headbutt to try to get out here, using the blast plant to their advantage. Gassiop in the
Not
area as
enough.
well, but Levy going to be able to get that kill right down. Meanwhile, in the mid, we have ZZ trying to contest the Epic Champion, trying to move down into the area to try to help their teammates out here. But Gassiop just going to be a little bit too far zoned off of the dragon, is going to manage to push back here, though, as we see the rotation of RIA into the river once again.
Also, MXL now has that red buff, so that's it's not gonna be a fun time for Ezreal.
Most definitely not. And
Speaking of
as
not a
well as the
fun
fact that
time,
MXL has that Berserker's Greaves, we're seeing the hook trying to come out. Petsy of Time going to be hit by a lot of auto attacks coming here from the Kalista, who notably is now at level 6. This is definitely a scary situation down there in the bot side of the map for Petsy of Time and Bean Credit. As up here in the top, we're seeing basically both people go even once more. Everyone knowing the limits of their champion at this level of play means that we aren't
oh,
going to
the
be getting
cage.
as chaotic of games. But as I say that, the cage is going to come out here. Shingo trying to get a YYDS pretty darn low. Both people are going to be trading a lot of damage back onto one another. As, wow, that kill down onto
Oh,
Levy here is going to leave them with one up on the side of RIA, but also at the same time, we have Kalista getting that last auto and securing the dragon. Ezreal not getting the true 2-for-1 right there, but still a big change of fortune for the side of GSG Sigma.
Also, what was going on in that little foray when you were watching in bot lane top? Both champions have spent their flash.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Shinhai really tried to flash Q onto Mordekaiser, and it just wasn't quite enough. Wow,
Yeah,
yes.
ZZ going really low. Ultimate available here. The Epic Champion going to use that to get another kill right there. GSG now has a mid laner up 2-0 against the Corki with a pretty widening CS lead of about 20 creeps right here.
That's gonna get better or worse before it gets better for Corki as well. Pretty soon, Epi is just gonna probably be able to do that like on repeat.
Yeah, meanwhile, we got some drama on the top side of the map. Corki going to have to come back to lane pretty weak while also watching the other side being chased down. Got to be pretty happy about this. YYDS going pretty darn low here, and finally Levy going to be able to get the kill right there. That's definitely going to be an answer back that you want to see as a mid laner. The jungler getting ahead, Levy getting some kills and getting some items built towards what looks to be an early Nashor's Tooth.
We'll see, just kind of floating around the map, seeing if anybody else wants to get aggressive when I'm looking the other way again, and of course not. Pike does land another Q. that seems to be about it. Now we're kind of farming again. Got our little scout just up here scouting in the top side of red jungle for RIA, just to make sure that Kha'Zix isn't gonna be sneaking around there.
Yeah, so far the gold is dead even. Revolution Ice Age with the aggressive choices that they've made in this comp, besides in the mid lane, who looks like he's in trouble once again, have been able to get some of those turret plates, especially on the top side of the map. So even though they are down a kill, the fact they have that, plus the early Hextech Drake has become pretty valuable for them. As it looks like we have another skirmish coming through here. Bean Credit gonna get stunned. We do have Ezreal ultimate coming out here, but that Pike is going to be able to get
There
the
it
drop
is.
down. And there's that disengage you just talked about. Pike going to be pulled right back out of there, going to be Arda away, Levy in the area now to try to disengage.
Oh.
Gustav going to keep trying to go in here, and now we have Ezreal along the side trying to get something done, and the Kha'Zix is going to go down, and Ezreal as well. That is a lot of kills over to the side of RIA, and only one traded back in return.
And not to mention, one of them did go to Pike. I don't know if there were two cash-ins off of that from the assist. But you know, everybody's happy whenever Pike gets a kill with his ultimate.
Yeah. Hade's going to be dropped here. Shanghai trying to get a low Mordekaiser down here as he begins to push the wave in further. He does have the Maiden out here, which makes the lane a little bit scarier for YYDS as well. And now, even from that one kill, as you were talking about before, the fact that Pike is able to multiply that gold means that we've already extended out to about a 1.5k gold lead, as the Epic Champion is looking for another kill. Corki going to have to W out of there.
Yeah, I just like I said, Epi's definitely going to be bullying Desi pretty hard here now for a good point of the game until he gets some help, and it looks like it's going to be coming from the other end. Epi getting a free Rift Herald in his lane as well.
Yeah, that Rift Herald going to be valuable. Flash was just spent there. Epi getting it out of Corki, even though we have him hiding right under that tower there. This is a lot of gold starting to get funneled in the mid lane.
Oh my
and wow, the
goodness.
ultimate just on cooldown, allowing for kills to come out. But now we have Shanghai in the area. The shutdown is going to come through. Killatron and Levy also moving to catch that Rift Herald, and then confirm that kill means that some gold will be traded back to the side of RIA, who still sit comfortably the gold lead, about 1.3k gold now.
And little bush over and on top of red buff has constantly been warded since that pink got put down as well. So they're doing a pretty good job on keeping vision on Yesop, to keep him from, you know, sneaking around, being a bug.
Being a bug, that is right. It looks like for the time being, we are going to probably be focusing on this dragon down here. Obviously, we have people on this side of GSG kind of moving through the top side of the map, preventing that invade from occurring, and we have the package being dropped here. Nobody really going to be connected to. Bean Credit going to be chased down, though, by this massive amount of damage coming through. MXL able to help GSG and Killatron secure a kill, and that is more gold being boosted over to the side of RIA as they also secure the dragon right there. Definitely would have liked to seen a little bit more movement from the Mordekaiser, from the Kha'Zix, to help with that, as another kill is secured in the bot side of the map. This is a pretty dominant early game from RIA now.
Yeah, it's that bot lane is kind of just slowly ramping up, getting scarier and scarier. You never want, I mean, Pike has 3 execute kills now at this point, so you can only imagine what it's done for the gold gain for the for his teammates.
And his early rush of those mobility boots are going to mean that we're seeing Killatron move deeply across the whole map, trying to get more influence and get more kills of that signature sword. As we have a big fight here in the top lane, Shanghai going to be able to get the cage, but ultimately not getting Mordekaiser low enough, ultimately forced to flash back towards the wave. YYDS is also in a low spot, but neither of these champions are like really notorious for burst damage, as it were. And here's one that is Gaskiop coming into the area, trying to make sure they could get a kill down on Shanghai, but he is getting drained pretty hard by the Maiden right here. But ultimately, the kill is going to be going over to the side of GSG. YYDS going low in order to help with that being secured. if Levy was there, that could have been a big turn of favor for RIA, but ultimately they just couldn't reach them in time, opted to
Oh,
farm, and now the Epic Champion is trying to be taken down right here. Killatron in the area as well, Levy dropping as many ultimate shots as possible, and that is going to put the Gwen on a killing spree. Early Nashor's 2 doing wonders for this champion. Now RIA really still looking to take over the game as we see not only a Quicksilver Sash, but also that Hole Breaker getting locked in early for the Yorick on the top side.
yeah, and I mean the thing that I've noticed the couple of times that I've actually caught them fighting top lane is that, Shingai does definitely have to retreat immediately once he's pulled into the Death Realm, and now he may not need to worry about it so much. He'll just boop out of it, and then just go boop back into YYDS, and it should have good effect, but we'll have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say that you have to pay the tax when you're playing against the Mordekaiser, as I may be speaking a little bit too soon, as Killatron is trying to is almost getting killed here by Gassiop. Gassiop is not going to be able to secure those. Killatron ease back towards the tower here. Ultimate almost dropping down onto the Kha'Zix. That was almost a huge turn, but that is Ultimate taken out from Pyke right now with no ability to reset, as in the top side of the map. We have the same kind of episode playing out where Shanghai gets the cage down, but just isn't able to break through that barrier and get enough damage down onto the Mordekaiser.
Wouldn't even, I don't know if he will at this point or not, but like even just a little no magic mantle, like just a little bit of MR to maybe help him duel, as like help Yorick duel top lane against the Mordekaiser whenever he's got his passive going, whenever the Darkness Rise is just spinning around him. It could maybe do dividends. These fights have been like thin as far as like how low they are when they stop fighting one another.
But Pulverize coming out here, but that's only going to lead to a stun being credited as Pyke once again ease away. Got to be a very annoying champion to try to engage on for the side of Alistar here. Shanghai getting a good push going and getting some really solid trades down. That completed Hole Breaker item really beginning to pay dividends up here in the top lane for the side of Yorick, as that tower maybe look to get down. Shanghai really trying to chip him out here, right here, and look at that damage. One bonk, and the Mordekaiser is gone. This is first tower going to, or this is not first tower, but this is going to be another tower going down to the side of RIA, and the split push is now in full effect for Ice Age.
Yeah, it's just like we said, he's got a full team on his own with Maiden and his three little kitty cat boys.
Yeah, and the action doesn't stop here. Beancred gonna go down. Pepsi of Time also far away. Killertron gonna be able to help secure that. More gold going over to the side of RA. Gassiop also going to be taken down. That Ren going to be too powerful. And one more ultimate means that we get the first ace of the game. Disastrous set of plays right there for the side of GSG Sigma. And with the fact that we now have Shanghai being able to get not one, but two turrets top and a huge wave crashing onto the inhibitor, you have so much priority and free reign to do basically whatever the heck you want. And as we move to the 6.5k gold lead, we're going to be seeing the beginning of the end here for the side of GSG Sigma, unless they do something drastic.
Yeah, I'm just kind of, what would you do in this situation, right? Like, where's your head at? Like, what are you doing in this game one to try and turn it back around?
I think that you just have to look for picks. I would say we have to continuously send people down to rotate, catch the Yorick, but also at the same time, if we move Mordekaiser out of vision, just kind of group him with the rest of the team, you have the chance to maybe 4 or even 5-man the Yorick and kind of rotate that into an objective. But for the time being, this is going to be Soul Point going over to the side of RIA now. They are sitting at the precipice of getting another big buff within this game that will continue to push forward and give them a ton of value and team fight potential. Gwen is not a champion that you want to see with the Cloud Soul buff. Her ability to stick on people becomes so much greater, especially when she drops the multiple charges of her ult right there. The Epic Champion trying to go for some kind of pick down here onto Shanghai. Shanghai just too darn bulky though. Even with all those balls set up in the bush, it wasn't quite enough. Sure, Yorick has to way, but that doesn't mean much of anything. He can always come back. And meanwhile, the Epic Champion is going to have to move out of this lane eventually, get back with the rest of the team, and try to set something up there.
I want to see. I mean, I suppose that it's just whatever because main can't get resummoned, but I want to see Yeso use smite on it, like because it's just not fun.
Yeah, notably, Killatron is getting shut down right there. Kalista going to have to move back to tower alone. The vision just not there quite yet in the river for RIA. That is something that they're going to have to push forward and leverage now that we have the Baron as the main objective up on the map. They definitely want to get a coherent team fight here against GSG Sigma. Being Credit trying to defend this one last little bit of vision that they have in the enemy side jungle. Ultimately not going to be able to do that as the Corki is starting to scale here. Man Immune going to be that first buy. They are also sitting on a lost chapter.
Yeah, and over on the edge of Ezreal, we've already got cooldown boots. The Miramana is stacked a little bit more, but not by much. And then you have an Essence Reaver.
Essence Reaver has been a pretty common lock, and on a lot of ADCs in recent months, it is notable that you are seeing a lot of damage come out from the side of GSG, but it's not really translating to much, as the Epic Champion is going to be caught up in the top lane. Gwen is immune, Levy is unstoppable. Now, Being Credit going to try to get something done here, but ultimately that hook pulled back means that Killatron is immediately going to reestablish his dominance as the support in this game. Gassiop staying here in the wings, trying to see if there's someone to be picked off, but is going to be spotted out on those wards, ultimately going to have to move back a little bit and just give away that jungle.
Yeah, it's not his anymore. It belongs to RIA at the moment. Like they have a monopoly on it. Though he is still lurking. Gets spotted by the spirit, and he'll have to, I don't know, he's still lurking. He's thinking about it.
And it looks like from the way that this Baron setup has begun that we are not going to get much in the way of contestation here. Obviously, given the fact that you had that ghost in the top side spotting out the Kha'Zix, you know he's in the area. This ultimate going to stop a few backs, but that isn't going to mean much. Baron buff now on the side of RAA. They're looking to close out the game here.
Yeah, it's I mean they're gonna push in. Which lane do they take first? Do they take top or do they take mid?
I think that they're going to go for mid right here because that's going to allow Shanghai, after he deals with this 2v1 down here pretty effectively, is going to have the ability to kind of rotate to them if need be. But look at that YYDS going so darn low now. There is no contestation over the top lane anymore. Gassiop going to be taken super low right here as you have multiple members of the enemy team trying to collapse down. You have Pyke in the area though. Shanghai going to just run after Pepsi at time. One bonk and it's over. Look at this now. Alistar gonna have to sit behind the tower. Shanghai has those minions behind them though, and that's so many dead on the side of GSG Sigma. No more top lane, no more ADC. Big sources of damage are gone, and it looks like this is going to be a grouping to at least take 1 or 2 inhibs.
You need to get rid of the Maiden. Maiden's super too strong.
Yeah, we saw how much he was doing in that last fight right there, basically chasing the Mordekaiser single-handedly back under tower, and even then it wasn't enough. That burn through and soul-sucking eventually ended up killing him right there. YYDS in pretty dire straits now, just going to have to look to play with the team from here on out. They have that Riftmaker built. Shanghai at about half health. Let's see if something can be done here. The bonk gonna come through. Being Credit also coming into the area, but gonna be peeled off by Killatron now. Yorg ultimately getting out alive as focus was returned back to the support on the side of RIA here, and they realize, hey, that's our mid-in-hit turret gone right there. Corki is going low once more. That is a big source of damage that if they take out could help change the fight, but no, look at that. Gassiop was going for something there and wasn't able to secure it. YYDS is going to be able to take down the Corki, and now York is also super low. That's a huge shutdown coming through, but Levy is undeterred, going to be dropping those ultimates coming through, and ultimately Pyke is going to help shut down that aspect of the fight. It is still a 2v2 though. Kalista obviously obviously having the ability to pull Pike back out of the fight. Kalista, they're looking to go back in. That's an ultimate coming back down, but
Ooh.
ultimately Pike is going to go through. MXL, though, going to get
Oh,
that last kill. The ace going over to the side of RIA, but with only one member left alive, I don't think that they could push too much further. That was honestly about what
alright.
you could hope for on the side of GSG Sigma.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of push to get the little extra CS, get your free red buff, and then probably move towards Drake. We'll see if they move towards Dragon with the intent on taking. Looks like they don't care about the red buff anymore.
Kalista having kind of a pseudo smite of her own, being able to rend out those spears, means that she's going to be getting the soul pretty cleanly right here, right now. Being Credit going to move over into the area, but ultimately the wards are just too tempting and they know that that soul is gone. This is another big boon, another big power spike over for the side of Revolution Ice Age, but I don't know whether or not it's enough for them to end right now. We saw some power coming out of Pepsi of Time, and the Epic Champion has been strong for a while now. So they may be waiting for the next Baron to spawn before they really try to push for the end, unless they're able to get a pick here.
Yeah, we'll see. They're sort of they're lurking around. They're thinking about it. They're contemplating it. Oh no, they're kanking the scuttle crab. Think
You
of the
need
think of the families.
Yeah, definitely. The Scuttle Crab here, pretty valuable for RAA as they're
Oh
just
no.
attempting to get vision, and now that is someone way too far up. YYDS going to be taken down with that Pike ultimate, still giving more gold. This is a big push forward, and this could be their ticket to at least getting that mid inhib down right here. You're going to see them kind of moving as a group. York obviously still content to try to contest and push a top lane by himself, but also that value that RIA is seeing and taking down that mid inhibitor, giving them more priority as they move towards the next Baron, definitely going to be enticing as we see four of them move onto this inhibitor right now. Kha'Zix trying to get some poke down, and
Hmm?
Killatron getting a hook. There comes a package coming in. Corki gonna drop too low though. Ultimately, no real follow-up, just went too deep right there. You got to be happy with that. Going over to Pepsi of Time on the side of GSG Sigma right now, but Yorick still a huge threat within himself. Gonna be able to get that second inhibitor turret down, but Bean Credit trying to pull up here and trying to get some kind of engage, and it looks like it's going to be on the top liner of
Ooh.
RIA right now. We still have people in the back line though. Everyone a little bit low. RIA
Ooh.
definitely trying to find a way out of this situation. Gasyop going to come forward here, but didn't go aggressive enough in time. That slow might be enough to get something done here. YYDS coming forward here, trying to get a pull onto someone. Pike going to E and push back the Kha'Zix here, but that grab almost landing right there.
No.
Another E is up in time though. Gasyop finally get to get the engagement.
Oh.
They want him a Killatron coming with the ultimate now, and that's two dead. Pepsi at Time going to be alone up there in the top lane as we see the flank coming
Oh
through
no.
from YYDS, but it's not going to be enough as
Oh
Blinn
no.
shifts down into the bottom side of the map, and now Killatron looking to stop this back, looking to continue to allow Corki to get that
Yep.
pressure down in the mid lane. This is at least going to be one, if not two turrets here. Going over to the side of RIA, we do have the Alistar up now, but I don't know if he's going to be doing enough by himself. Just continue to rest coming out here. Teleport being dropped, coming through. You're going to be in the area now. They could look to end the game right here. Nexus may be the ultimate come down on the side of RIA right now. Mordekaiser just unable to get back as they die right here.
Yasu.
Being Credit going too low
Oh.
as well. This is the end of the game. Cosmos will be able to get one kill down, but that's not going to
And
be enough. First round going over to Revolution Ice Age.
yeah, just like we were saying, Mordekaiser versus Yorick. Yorick got to basically go where he pleased. And then that ace that gave them so much in the top lane just was backbreaking, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, backbreaking is definitely the word that I would use as well. You had the advantages where you needed them on the side of Revolution Ice Age. Shanghai playing after a little bit of a dicey early game pretty admirably once he had secured that hold breaker and just put so much pressure, especially on that bot lane after the securing of Baron, that it was basically impossible for GSG Sigma to jump back. Even in the places where we saw a little bit of weakness, we have an 0-7 core Corky notably on the side of RIA, they still played to the strengths of the team. They grouped when they needed to group, and they used the package when they thought that they would be able to disrupt the team fight and get people low enough for people like Killatron, like MXL to come in and finish them off. Levy also just unstoppable after a little bit of a hiccup with that invade from Gassiop in the early game. 10-2 at the end of that, an incredible amount of damage being dropped there and really showing the scaling potential of that Gwen jungle pick. It'll be interesting to see how GSG Sigma will adapt going on into game two.
Yeah, do you think they try to ban out the top laner? Like I think that it doesn't really matter. Like you can't ban out items, right? You can't ban out Hullbreaker. There will be another champion that can abuse it.
I kind of agree, and that's why I don't really think we're going to be seeing a big shift in the focus of bans from the side of GSG Sigma. I think that Revolution Ice Age will just be able to put Shanghai on any champion that can rush Hullbreaker. Maybe we'll see a set. Maybe the Tryndamere will actually come through for them instead of them banning it out. There's a lot of choices for them to make as we move on here. The draft is going to start pretty soon, everyone, and don't go anywhere. For those of you just tuning in, we just witnessed a banger of a game one Revolution Ice Age coming out on top of GSG Sigma there, and we're going to look to see whether or not that'll be evened up here next up here in the Blue Otter League. Please don't go anywhere. It is the Blue Otter League week 2, and we are here in round 2 between GSG Sigma and Revolution and Ice Age. For those of you just joining us, we just had a banger of a game where RIA came out on top, and we're looking to see if anything is going to be changing up in these drafts because of it here. We do also have a side swap. RIA is going to be the ones occupying the map while GSG Sigma will be sitting red right now. And so far, it looks like we're having a salty run back. Feedonomics, what do you think so far?
Yeah, I mean it's looking like the same bands are kind of not in similar cadence, but Kaisa and Trundle were two of the two bands in the beginning, and so were there you go. There's the target band. Syndra getting banned out because that was pretty impressive last game. Like Corky didn't have a lot of fun dealing with it initially. So they probably called that one out. Said,
Yeah,
hey,
the Epic
I don't want to play against
Champion.
that.
Yeah, the Epic Champion definitely a bit of a terror on the Syndra. Really stopped DesZZ from being able to scale out there in the mid lane. So perhaps the ban here is going to signal that Revolution Ice Age want to go back onto that Corki pick or another similar scaling champion for their mid lane. As we have the Zeri locked in up here as the first pick from RIA, answered by GSG going to the Gwen.
Yeah, and Gwen most likely n- going to the jungle. We'll see what happens. Well, actually, we don't know what'll happen yet, do we?
We definitely don't. Gassiop could have seen Levy pop off on the Gwen going 10-2 in that last game and just said, I want that for myself this time around. The Jinx getting locked in, though. GSG not going to hesitate after it was not banned in this first round here. That is an incredibly well contested and strong pick that we've been seeing consistently played at all levels. Jinx obviously has great hyper carry potential, but honestly has been a bit of a terror in the early game as well. Those rockets just able to do so much damage throughout team fights here. RIA, though, going to put their support Killatron 100 back onto the pike. Definitely a comfort pick of theirs. And they did so much to impact last game. I wouldn't be shocked to see them continue to rush mobility boots, row across the map, and make some big, big plays.
Well, and along with the big plays, you've got the pig plays with Sejuani getting locked in. I do enjoy me a good boar. Also liked your inadvertent shock pun with Zeri also being on the side of RIA. Appreciate you, even if you don't realize you're doing it. You're playing the good fight.
Yes, thank you. I do really support you in your pun war here. As we move
Yes.
down, we're getting the Alistar coming through for GSG once again. Bean Credit tried pretty hard to make that pick work last game, but one of the things that we saw kind of repeated over and over again was the ability for Pike to just kind of E and get the stun off before too much damage could be done. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not Bean Credit's going to adjust to that. Maybe look for an engage on a different set of individuals here. But clearly, the Alistar being picked again is kind of demonstrable of the fact that they're confident that this lane can still work.
And oh, kind of like we were talking about pre-game and everything like that, just Jinx having a support that can really allow them to drop the chompers down and get them off consistently helps them snowball so much. And they're either a pulverize like to make sure that they stay still long enough for it to happen, or the more impactful like headbutt into chompers. I want to see a headbutt into chompers now. Like one of them, I'm just like these blanket statements. I want to see happening. Hope that Zeri hops over walls. Pretty sure I'm gonna get that one. That one's gonna happen.
Yeah, speaking of walls, unfortunately, my girl Talia is getting banned out. GSG going to be denying that pick, interestingly enough, given the fact that it looks like we've already had our jungler selected on the side of Revolution Ice Age. I'm wondering what that choice was for here, but they also have the Lee Sin coming out as well. Perhaps a little bit of a hiccup, maybe thinking that they were seeing Sejuani top or something here, and it looks like we're going to be getting a Lilia and Oriana pick. So,
I
hey, maybe they
really
were
like.
ultimately correct.
Oh no, I wanted to see the Oriana. Well, I still might. I still might. Let's see if this casting gets locked in. Oh, never mind. We
It's
we
always the third
completely
option
jumped
that they
over it.
don't
Yeah,
cover.
Yeah, it's the unseen hover is always the deadliest. So a
Yeah.
colleague getting picked up to finish out the side of RIA, and I mean, I don't dislike it. It's another good one. You can shroud to get all confusing on everybody. Like you can shroud in Gwen's circle. Like we can just have circleception.
Yeah, a lot of choices and diversity here. And there's also some champion picks that can definitely be flexed on both sides. The one that I'm obviously going to be pulled towards is the question of whether or not we're going to be seeing Lilia top or Lilia jungle here. Sejuani top also definitely playable, but honestly, I would love to see Leandri's Rush Lilia kind of playing for the team here as a variation of what we saw in the last game. I don't want another Hullbreaker Rush. I want to see those true full on 5v5s coming through for Revolution Ice Age just to show that they could play a different bit of a style and go a little bit off meta here and there. On the
Yeah,
other side, GSG Sigma also has the ability to move around their jungler in top laner, but Xin Zhao probably the more obvious pick to go to Gassiop there in the jungle, a champion that is notorious for their early game strength and one that we saw get banned out in the last set of picks.
and one of his initial like counter picks, like Trundle, did get banned out on their side. So there was no opportunity to sort of pick that to placate it. We'll just see if my best friend in the whole wide world, Sejuani, bring back Deathfire Grass, Sejuani. Please. No one, it says no one ever except for me because I'm a monster.
It's okay. I really liked Chemtech Drake, so we can bond over our love
Our,
of
our bad
very,
our
very
bad
broken
hot
things.
takes.
Our
Like
bad hot takes. Our bad hot takes. I also think that they shouldn't have nerfed Smite Janna top, but at this point, I think that I may be doing more harm to my image than good. Um, in terms of these drafts, though, what do you think we are going to see in terms of early game advantages? Because obviously, we've been seeing a little bit of shuffling around with priority. GSG had a lot of strength in that mid lane that may be cut down just the slightest bit by their choice of a victor this time after the Syndra was banned out. Meanwhile, Xin Zhao, also a champion that is pretty strong early, but Sejuani, not the same kind of champion they could really bully off buffs like what we saw with Levy on Gwen last game.
we'll have to see if maybe they do try and change it up a little bit more. Maybe send somebody with Zinzao to to accompany him into borrowing a buff from Sejuani's side of the jungle. Like that would be the best way that they could probably bully them off.
Hmm.
But unless it's a Gwen jungle, then we're probably not seeing a hull breaker this game at least. So prediction broken.
Yeah, GSG don't really seem to be as big of a fan. They really seem to like those Rift Maker top laners because we also saw YYDS go with the Mordekaiser last time around, going to stay with AP, probably going to be on that Gwen here. So definitely a little bit of variation between the two teams in regards to how they approach that lane. And it'll be cool to see what the matchup pans out like as we are going to get a confirmation here in just a few moments over whether or not we will, in fact, see them busting out the Lilia top. I can only cross my fingers and hope.
Beep. Is all that I've got to say about that.
Yeah. Um, I also want to ask, what do you think, Phenomics, in terms of just overall advantage? Who's getting your vote this game?
Mm, I was wrong the last time. So honestly, I kind of like the comfort pick going back to Pike. For Kiltron, I like Sejuani a lot. I like Jungle Singed. Lilia is really fun. Granted, if they're played in the top lane, they're not really Jungle Singed in that case. They're just like discount shit or discount Singed. But I'll have to go with RIA on this game. I like that comp a lot more. At least, like I said, if I'm conventionally picking on the things that I enjoy, when I'm playing League of Legends.
I get what you're saying here, and I definitely do like a lot of the picks coming out from Revolution Ice Age. But at the same time, GSG Sigma is really drafted a pretty strong composition that has flexibility to play in a few different ways. Given how well Gasyop is able to pilot that Xinjiao early, we could be seeing a inevitable snowball for that side. Getting that Jinx fed can spell disaster for RIA, and honestly, given the fact that they banned Talia and we aren't going to be able to see her this game, I got to put my vote onto them. I want to go to a game 3. I want to see my Rock Girl get a game out here on the big stage on the stream. Let's go GSG.
All right. So we're bitter rivals. That's the way it seems. Um, is it do my eyes deceive me? Is it going to be a top lane Sedge?
Yeah, it definitely looks like Shanghai is going to be locking in that Sejuani, a champion that I haven't seen Hullbreaker built on yet, but frankly, I do not put it past the side of Revolution Ice Age to do so here. Lilia going to be going in the jungle. Levy is a person who really does enjoy their AP junglers, and with that in mind, I am not sad to see the Lilia go into that role there. I'm sure that it'll be piloted to perfection. It'll be just a real delight to watch them kite the camps and just look for some plays, some big sleeps as we move there into the mid game here. We are going to be moving over to break here just pretty shortly as we wait out the spectator delay. For those of you who are just joining us, this is the Blue Otter League second week. We are in the 1-0 bracket and trying to see who will move on and continue their lossless record here. RIA taking the first game against GSG Sigma here, and we will be discussing more about these picks as we move on into the game itself. Welcome back, everyone, to the Blue Otter League Platinum Series. It is week 2 right here in a big round between GSG Sigma and Revolution Ice Age. RIA looking to go 2-0, a clean victory here today, and GSG hoping to stop them here in this second game. Looks like we're getting a pretty standard 5-point strategy on either side right here. Shanghai sitting in that pixel bush. What do you think we're going to be seeing out of this early game Feudonomics?
Well, this time we don't get to see any of the sneaky invade to burn a flash early, so that's pretty disappointing. But I think we're gonna get pretty traditional clears from both junglers, and then I kind of want to see if Xin Zhao is gonna make an attempt on a mid lane gank, perhaps. Like I mean, maybe even depending on where he starts, top lane, like that might be a pretty easily gankable lane with Sejuani stun. So I want to see some action. I just enjoy the action. Um, I'm a simple man.
I'm a simple man. I see fight. I like. And I think that we'll frankly be getting a lot of that this game. Both teams like to play aggressively, especially given the picks that we see this time. I don't think that that's going to be changing here in round 2. We do get that standard start as you were talking about before. Both bot sides going to be leashing here, mirroring what we saw last time around as well. MXL on the Zeri this time, obviously a hotly contested pick, but notably we have been seeing some different build paths come out of that champion in recent times, as YYDS is just going to get a lot of damage
Yeah.
down onto Shanghai early here.
Ooh.
That E just doing so much. Meanwhile, bot lane, we're also getting an engage. There you go, right there, Feudonomics. You're seeing those fights. You got to be feeling good. How do you think these early trades are panning out?
Well, Summoner burned on the other side, so not as well. Like, but the Sejuani's definitely not having a good time. Sejuani's
Yeah.
not allowed to have fun yet. Like too creative on YYDS as far as like being able to just zip around the map, zip around the top lane and kind of abuse the sluggishness that Sejuani's skills provide.
Yeah. It is the case that oftentimes what you see early on against Gwen is champions pushing into her, being able to get that
Ooh.
early advantage. But we're just not seeing this time, as an E is going to be landing onto the victor in the mid lane. DesZZ going to be going down in a pretty bad trade, though, that ultimately not really fully going in their favor. But as I wanted to say earlier, I really am kind of concerned now about how Shanghai is going to handle this game going forward. Obviously, Gwen is a champion that loves the
Oh.
fact that she's able to free farm. She seems to be able to do that pretty well as we get the first big fight of the game. DesZZ gonna have to flash back out of there after trying to get an engage onto Gassiop. YYDS in the area alongside the Epic champion on that victor there. Ultimately not going to lead to a whole lot of drama, but that is another invade. Gassiop really liking to bully the weaker early game champions that Levy has been put on in these past 2 games.
Yeah, and that time we did see like a major reaction from both sides to sit there and try and help their junglers out. I wonder if there could have been an ignite thrown down, but that smite onto the scuttle crab probably would have saved him with enough healing anyways.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing a lot of jockeying for position. No real big blowups quite yet. We haven't seen first blood established, but this is showing a willingness from both teams to go for that early kill and get that advantage as we move into that crucial minute block before the first dragon is going to come out here. We have the Xin Zhao on the bot side of the map, maybe looking to
Oh,
set something up, as we do have Killatron 100 very far up here, but ultimately Xin is going to disengage. Hook gonna come out though. That's gonna
oh,
be E going down onto Alistar right there. Alistar gonna have to try to flash back out of their Pepsi of time, trying to do their best to peel off for the support now.
Xin
But
Zhao's floating
Killatron staying
down.
in the area. Xin Zhao gonna be back though. Being credit going too low. That's gonna be first blood going over to this area. It's still a 2v2 now, but Pyke is going really low here. That is going to
Oh
be a lower
no.
shot connected onto Gassiop. But look at this Zeri, just too strong, going to get that double kill early, going over to the side of Revolution Ice Age. You gotta be super happy.
I mean, I'm shocked that happened. Ha 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 ha. You're welcome. I won't apologize for that. But but yeah, like, action happening, quick double kill over to the side of RIA. So already putting GSG Sigma in a bad spot.
Yeah. Killatron has been so slippery and effective in his movements on that pike throughout both of these games now, somehow managing to escape a narrow run in with Gassiop there allowed for MXL to spend time dumping in that Q spam onto the Xin and eventually getting a double kill out for the side of Revolution Ice Age. Definitely not what you want to see for GSG Sigma, especially now because you have that dragon
Oh,
up and ready as we get the first few backs and item buys of the game for either side.
the Victor already with a level advantage on Desi. Epi is just not even playing around when they're on Victor. Like that's oh, but you got Killatron coming up to at least say hi.
It's the classic, I leave my bot laner in this first back, go somewhere else on the map, try to make a play before I walk back down to my good friend there, as the ADC is going to kind of sit back a little bit, allow for the
Oh,
approach. Pike really going deep in here, going to be able to get the hook down onto Bean Credit, but maybe a bit too far forward. Pepsi have time
oh
using
no.
those Flame Choppers to zone out Killatron, and look at
Yeah.
this. MXL is not able to get anything traded back onto them, just unable to continue to approach. Meanwhile, Shanghai going down super low and eventually going to be popped by that ultimate. That is 2 kills traded back to the side of GSG Sigma, evening up this early game and allowing for them to go for the first dragon.
And yeah, and like that's a good first dragon to get. Like I would never complain about just walking away with the free Infernal Drake, right?
Free Infernal Drink, to be fair, maybe going to do a lot for the Jinx and Victor, but maybe not enough for Bean Credit, who has been massively harassed in both of these games on the Alistar versus the Pike. That being said, in that last fight, we really saw Bean Credit just play Alistar properly, absorbing the hook when need be, and continually CCing and preventing the Pike from moving back towards the rest of his team. A lot of great presence of mind right there from both sides, and I really think that we'll be seeing a little bit of an evolution on how Bean is going to approach this matchup against the Pike.
Yeah, like hopefully they kind of learned what they were learning, or, what they were missing the last game. Got distracted by a little bit more action going on in the mid lane. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
stuff.
SZZ definitely playing a champion that's been ending up getting bullied kind of early here. No kills being confirmed. Obviously, Akali has a lot more maneuverability than Corki does in order to prevent early deaths in this lane, but hopefully that Akali pick will start to come into its own more as we move into the team fighting portion of the game, because for the time being right now, they are being pushed back. They are going down a little bit of CS against the Victor,
Uh-oh.
but we do have some drama occurring both here in the bot lane as well as the mid lane as we get the approach by Lilia. Sejuani also in the area trying to get something landed down, but now Gassiop going to come back and get the push through, landing a W down onto the Sejuani, forcing the flash over the wall. And now Gwen's also in the area as well, ultimate being forced out of the Sejuani here. Gassiop going to get the kill. That's a super mega death threat coming through, and that's another R being
Dead
dropped down
Lilia.
onto
Maybe?
the deer in a top side, but that speed may be enough to get the Gwen away. They aren't able to reset and get another shot of their ultimate off onto the champion. Bambi gonna scamper down, and ultimately it looks like this is only going to result in one kill going over to the side of GSG Sigma.
Yeah, a little bit of a misplay on Sejuani's part there. Shanghai didn't realize that Gesop was nearby, and he popped out at the wrong time. If you're a fan of RIA, you can sort of abuse that situation.
Yeah, definitely a matter of wrong place, wrong time for Shanghai. That was a really good play if you didn't have so many people beginning to move into the mid lane to stop your engage from going through. We saw the defensive flash being used as well, so that's another tool being gone from that top lane, as YYDS on Gwen is only going to be getting stronger as the game progresses deeper.
Mm-hmm. And not really contested all that much. Level behind. Shanghai's a level behind already, and if we go to look, the CS is even. So we're doing okay in that regard. But here we go, Killatron.
Killatron roaming once again to the mid lane, gonna get that hook, not going to be able to land the stun eventually as the flash comes out of the Victor, but it just doesn't matter there. The that is going to be an enemy chaser dropping down and going to get Pike killed, but at the same time you do have that trade back of the victor now. That being said, that is 2 people going down for the price of 1, and we're starting to see a little bit of a separation in regards to the kill count. GSG Sigma being able to turn a lot of the plays being made right now by the side of Revolution Ice Age, who may be a little bit overconfident after that last game.
I mean, yeah, maybe they have grown a little too proud, but the other thing that I do see is GSG Sigma kind of playing with their teammates a lot better than they were last game as well. There were a couple of hero mode situations where it seems like only YYDS should be allowed to just kind of bully by themselves. Because that trade's just not going well for Shanghai ever.
It is definitely the case that YYDS has made this a lane where they're happy to sit back, but that ultimate's
Yeah.
going to whiff, and look at that, Shanghai going to be punished really heavily for Sejuani R not connecting right there, as Gwen is going to work with the needle work and get the kill down onto the Sejuani. That Gwen becoming a real massive threat and a real problem for the side of Revolution Ice Age.
Yeah, like I said, the lead's only going to get bigger from here. Still not much in CS, but the 2 kills and no deaths to 3 deaths is definitely going to get felt sooner rather than later.
That was a
Oh,
pretty early super mega death rocket, and the pike hook is going to land. Bean Credit trying to get out and trying to knock Levy towards the rest of his team, but ultimately he is far too deep after Killatron lands one more sickle onto him, and that's going to be a dead cow on the side of GSG Sigma. And that fight's only just going to continue here. Gassiop trying to get in, going to connect a W, but it's not going to be enough as you see Revolution Ice Age moving as 5, desperate to try to get those kills back and beginning to get that snowball moving back towards their side. They're going to move up about 1.5k gold here and get a dragon to their name, which will help boost them a little bit further as well. That was a great set of plays and a really forward-thinking strategy coming from RIA, bringing back a little bit of what was lost, especially from that dominance in the top side of the map.
yeah, absolutely. And we got to watch the cool slide across the wall from Zeri, so we can check that off my list. Like we're good to go. But what I'm more concerned about is the plates that Gwyn is going to obtain for their team. Looks like they're gonna get it all the way down to the bare bones of the last tower bit. Oh nope, saved at the last second by Shanghai. However, you don't want to be in between those blades.
Yeah, Shanghai down 2 levels here, and while they may have prevented the tower from being taken right then and there, the question is whether or not they're going to be able to hang on. We see GSG Sigma continuing an advantage push right there, dropping the Herald in the middle lane to get some gold back onto their side after a few sets of unfortunate plays, especially around the bot side of the map here. MXL, Pepsi of Time, definitely going to be big threats as we see them start to scale up a little bit more. And we've also just been seeing a big divergence in how Des has been playing these last 2 games. They're on the Corki early on. They were just bullied so hard that it felt like they were never getting the priority to actually move towards fights. Speaking of a fight, we got one right here. It looks like we're going to be Killatron connecting up a hook onto Pepsi of Time, but unfortunately, the way that the wave is set up and the way that you have Zinja beginning to assemble on the top side means that you aren't able to get a continued fight right there or a big pick for RIA.
Yeah, I did force the flash though, right? That's what we saw right there. Yeah, Jinx did have to flash in that situation, so did get a summoner spell out of that. Shanghai just doing everything that they can to hold the line for this last plate. That's already gone because it's past 13 minutes. Hey, how you doing? This is me. But yeah, so did hold out and saved at least 1 plate worth of gold. So here we go. Back
Villatron, that
at it
same
again.
thing. W in using that strength of the Moby Boots to get a good engage started here. That's going to be a stun being dropped once again down onto Bean Credit, who's just kind of happy to walk it off, though. Killatron definitely getting the short end of the stick with that trade. Pepsi, I'm doing a lot of damage, and that's only going to continue here as Gassiop's going to come in, get the W connected. It looks like Zeriol's going to have to be popped as the rest of the team tries to disengage. Bean's Credit doesn't hear that, though. Decides to go in and try to get more damage down. This is a very low Zeri trying to single-handedly defend the tower. That was enough damage, though, to prevent Gassiop from going in further and getting that dive set up. That's a sigh of
Oh,
relief from MXL, but that is still a dead support on the top side of the map as YYDS, undeterred, still going to go and still has that ultimate there. That stun going to come down, a little bit too much eagerness, and now that we do have Beancred and Pepsi of time, they're going to look to try to avenge their fallen comrade, but Sejuani getting a much-needed solo kill there in the top lane.
it was the pig place, man. But here we go on bottom now to watch nothing happen.
More drama around the map. It looks like Des was trying to get in an engage going, but Victor being able to deny so much area means that a dash-in would have been disastrous for the Akali as we get a fight around this Rift
Oh, the
Herald now.
sleep.
Pyke gonna have to walk a little bit back. That's a big sleep going down onto the Victor, and a bonk is going to occur, but Epic Champion not going down enough to kill them, and it looks like that may be enough pressure though for exchanging of hands of the Rift Herald. Here we have Pyke in the area getting a good hook onto Gasyop here, but they are all alone, and that's going to mostly be used for harass here as Flame Chompers come down to deter the rest of Revolution Ice Age from pushing any deeper against GSG Sigma.
Yeah, it was just it was a really well played play at the time. It looks like we have Desi getting attacked by YYDS though.
Yeah, YYDS just utilizing that money advantage that they got from the top lane here to prey on someone else other than the Sejuani, realizing that after that solo kill that they need a bit of an ego boost here. Akali obviously slippery enough to kind of move away though. And speaking of slippery, Killatron getting between these two hours, getting a proxy kill down onto Gasyop here as Shanghai comes into the area alongside the rest of the team. Levy going to help secure that kill, and that's a lot of gold multiplied back onto the side of RIA as they ultimately Killatron will be the one securing it. Another hook coming through. That's a big hill headbutt pulverized, and MXL going to go really low alongside the Pyke bot side. We also have a lot of drama coming through. That's an ultimate coming through. The needlework almost connecting to that final shot, going to do enough. Des ZZ going to be going down as in the top side of the map you have a lot of low members on the side of RIA able to peel back and move away from the fight. If we got another set of headbutt pulverizes out of Bean Credit or Pepsi at time was able to move a little bit further up, we could have been seeing a change of fortune. But if you're an RIA fan, you got to wipe the sweat off your brow and be relatively happy with how that played out.
Oh, definitely like crawling back into the game or like ahead of the game. Really, I'm more looking at kills than I was total gold there for a moment. But definitely have carved this game back into their favor from an advantage side, anyways. Pretty
And we'll
even
see
on
if that's
towers
going
and
to
everything.
translate into a dragon here. Hook going to come out, going to whiff at point blank range, though. Killatron going to have to flash away. That's a big engage tool going down right now, as we also get a silence in Sun Sejuani, not really able to do a whole lot until they go on a killing spree right there. Xinjiao going to be down, but that damage is going to be traded back. No! I speak wrong here. Shanghai finally going to be taken down by the Super Mega Death Rocket, but that's a double kill going over to the top laner on the side of RIA. The fight is going to continue. DesCZ a little bit on the side here, trying to find a flank motion in. Killatron also going to try to search down on Pepsi of time. Ultimate coming out and going to connect with a kill right there. That is going to be one tower shot down, but YYDS is not able to secure anything back onto the Pyke now. This is now going to be a 3v2 for that dragon as SCZ continues to go forward, trying to push them off even this blue buff. Now we have a front line really starting to form here. MXL, DesCZ just going to prevent anyone from moving towards the dragon as we still see Levy coming back into the area using the hex gates to get over a little bit faster, and a teleport's going down as we get the second engage. That is going to be a shutdown going on to MXL. That is a big source of damage being gone, but Shanghai is back at full health and ready to tank up a lot as we see the Gwen ultimates coming out here. They're gonna have to dash back over the wall though, and it looks like this dragon is probably going to go over to the side of GSG.
No.
They're gonna go in and try to go for the steal, but now it's a big fight. That's going to be one dead on the side of Revolution Ice Age. Levy just a little bit too eager to jump in there, misses the smite, and ultimately isn't able to secure the dragon. That is a death for nothing, and that is going to be 2 points to the side of GSG's Sigma as we do a little bit of trolling around that red buff.
The red buff is a double agent. Red buff
Shanghai
helping out red team.
Yeah, Shanghai trying to defend the last little slivers of health down on this tower. Jinx gets excited, but not going to continue that fight going forward. Sejuani going to be followed up by the Zeri in the area, so an engage right there could have meant doom for the side of GSG Sigma, who definitely want to sit upon the little bit of advantage that they managed to secure in this past team fight.
Right, and they're only sitting on being ahead by 200 gold? 400? Yeah, 200 gold at the moment seems to be the difference. So, still a super close game. It's anybody's. we might get that game 3 after all.
And you know what I want to see out of that game 3. But for the time being, we got to look at the
Caliban?
champions that we have right now. Killatron sitting on some vision, going to get poked for their efforts. Gasyov also going to get bowling balled a bit here as people are attempting to set up vision around Dragon. Just secure the area just in case a fight does go down. And knowing these two teams, I think that we're going to be getting a battle sooner rather than later.
Oh, come on now. They haven't been aggressive at all this game. I don't know what you're talking about.
We're averaging more than a kill a minute, my friend.
No, that's not how averages work. There's only 10 on one side and 12 on the other.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No aggression here whatsoever. Yeah.
Here we go though.
Yeah, DesZZ trying to get something done against Victor, going to be
Ooh.
able to get that E connected, but Crown of the Shattered Queen just doing so much into that matchup and negating a lot of the burst damage that we see coming out of assassins like Akali here. It looks like for the time being, the Ninja is still going to be denied a kill against Shouty Robot Man.
Shouty Robot Man, huh? Is that your professional opinion on Victor's name?
That's my professional opinion on Victor within League, not within Arcane. And speaking of Victor within League, we have him back here trying to get a kill down onto the Akali with the help of Gasyov, who's just going to W forward and delete Akali from the game here. DesZZ definitely struggling both of these rounds as Shanghai is getting ulted upon by YYDS as they move back under tower, trying to get something done, but a big shutdown and set of gold going over to YYDS, who's only going to continue to snowball here. We're beginning to see the makings of a monster.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, it was the similar. Oh nope, taking a nap though.
Taking a nap, gonna get into the Hollowed Mist here, but it doesn't matter. Levy's going to be able to enter it and get the kill onto the Gwen here. A monster may be, but even they have to take a nap sometimes.
Even gods do bleed. Like that's the thing to take away from that one.
Even gods
But
do
it looks
bleed,
like
and
we've
even
got
Gwens
some
do sleep.
maybe some action.
Yeah, I'm sure that Killatron wants action regardless of what's going on, but I think for the time being, they're going to settle for setting up some vision here. They're going to drop another control ward and continue to vie for it. Notably, they are a little bit split off from the Zeri, who does have the ability to enter if a fight were to occur, but I think for the time being, everyone realizes that one big throw means Baron for the other team, and so that they're going to look to play a little bit further back further. Now, I say that and immediately we have Shanghai in the area trying to get an engaged down onto Pepsi of time. So perhaps I should just stop talking.
You know, I mean, I would prefer that you keep talking because like any air of dead silence means I have to talk, and nobody wants that. But as we're kind of looking along with it, just more poke going down onto them. Oh, and we got a mini engage.
Yeah, Shanghai gonna have to dash right back out of there. Deaths right now are pretty crucial because the dragon will be spawning here in a minute, and we have DesZZ getting chased down a little bit by YYDS, but that doesn't look like it's going to change to anything in particular here. Pyke is notably low. Killatron might look to back before this dragon fully spawns in here, and in turn, we are seeing GSG Sigma push into the enemy jungle, realizing that they want to secure as much as possible, and that's going to be a big engage. Gasyop going to be able to run right back in there. That's a huge knockup as well from the blast plant as well.
Yeah.
It's going to prevent any deaths from coming through on either side, but now the fight's going on once more. It looks like we have Lily going
really
golden here. That sleep going to come down. YYDS is going to get DesZZ, though Akali just not doing much in any of these fights, and that's a huge set of kills over. YYDS coming to their own as the Gwen, the triple kill and ace for the side of GSG Sigma.
Yeah, a 4-for-1 trade there, and all of a sudden the gold lead is still just 2,000 gold. Like it's twos on a Tuesday.
You have to think about who that gold is on, though, within this game. And with a lot of that sitting pretty on YYDS, you're starting to see team fights really go in the direction of GSG Sigma. If you are Feedonomics, Revolution Ice Age here, what are you looking to do to get back into this?
It's probably going to be looking for picks, right? Like, I would actually try and get a play on YYDS, get that shut down. Double so if they're kind of like pushed off on their lonesome. Maybe try to like find a play on them while they're topside. If they ever decide to go back to top side, their home may just be bottom lane now.
Yeah, a lot of split pushing presence. And remember, one of the big rules of split pushing in League is that you want to stay on the opposite side of the map of whatever objective is currently up, which means that Gwen typically will look to go to the bottom side right now, although that is being happily occupied by the Epic champion as the time goes for right now. So it looks like Gwen is happily going to move to the top, get that wave, and I am just being consistently denied good insights this game as both teams keep looking to surprise.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that's kind of what I would have done is I would try to posture topside and attack YYDS at the moment.
We just saw a Sejuani ult come out there, but it doesn't look like that evolved into much of a fight. The engage just not coming through for RIA. That is going to be a bowling ball hitting Alistar here, and we have a
Oh,
big flank coming through. Gassiop going to get the ultimate off here, going to prevent himself from being dove as we now have Bean Credit moving on into the area. Pepsi of Light staying back, trying to get some damage down, and now look at this. We
and
have
teleporting in.
Des coming in. There's a teleport also on the side of RIA of GSG as they're going to move on and start splitting this fight even more. Gwen in the area going to do so much damage, and Victor coming on strong in his own right. A double kill going over to GSG. Nobody falling on their side. This is probably going to be their attempt at a Baron here. That is an ultimate coming down, and Kiltron is going to be able to take out Pepsi of Time. The ADC, a big source of damage for the side of GSG Sigma, but they are unperturbed. They are still going to look for the Baron Nashor play here. We do have the lingering of the remnants of RIA in the area, though. They're ultimately going to be pushed off of it, realizing that you aren't seeing Revolutions backing down. They're going to take that back, take the gold that they got from that fight, and pivot that into a little bit more map pressure, but not necessarily the Nashor quite yet.
So if this does go to game 3, do you ban Pike next game?
It's interesting. Pike has obviously been making a lot of plays and being a really impactful member of the map. But given the fact you are 1-1 against him, I don't know whether or not that will motivate GSG Sigma to actually use up a spot in their bans for them. They seem pretty set on like several of their choices to ban throughout this game. The Kaisa obviously being the one we've seen both times coming out. But at the same time, given how things are panning through, I really would like to see the ban. I think that, frankly, Killatron, even in this game where we are seeing a little bit more in terms of hiccups from RIA, has been a dominant member of that team.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, then on the inverse, do you try to ban out Alistar or a couple of other of the protecty peely tanky boys, tanky supports?
I don't really know. It depends on what the ordering of bans will look like. If we get the early ban of the Pike, I think that we might still get Alistar being allowed through just because you have the ability to choose and diversify your matchups in that bot lane on the side of RIA. So there's a lot to talk about here, but something else to talk about is the fact that we're getting that ultimate getting whiffed by the Howl Mists right there. Shanghai gritting their teeth in the
But
face
there's
of
a
what a
nap.
fantastic ability. That being said, that is a sleep going down. YYDS going to get hooked back into the rest of the team. Shanghai going to be much more happy now. They are not going to be denied their kill for the team as the rest of GSG Sigma come through. That's a lot of damage coming in now. Shanghai going to be the first one to go down. Everyone is super low and being chased down by the side of Gassiop, who is ultimately going to get ulted for a kill, but a double going over to Victor, the Epic champion. Huge on the side of GSG, going to continue to push forward in this fight and try to secure another kill. You have a lot more health to play with if you are on their side. RRA going a little bit low. Zeri going down now, and Levy and Killatron clearly on the run from here on out. Both have the movement speed to get away from this drama, but the Epic champion doing so much alongside Pepsi Time and Bean Credit, getting out of there with another advantage. You've been seeing these trades back and forth, and even with the gold being even, you ultimately see a one-man advantage or a two-man advantage continuously come out from the side of GSG Sigma, and you have to be happy about what kind of priority that affords you as they may be looking to take Soul here.
Yeah, and definitely not a bad soul to grab. I'm a big fan of attack speed like cooldown. And the lightning effect that one has going on with it. So, we'll see if the contest is enough here, or if this is the straw that breaks the camel's back in the game.
Gwen in the area alongside the Epic Champion means that you have to be really worried, but also you feel determined to fight this out. If you are RIA, as the first kill goes down onto the side of GSG, they're going to continue this push back now. Shanghai going to be taking the brunt of the damage now with the passive of the Dragon buff coming through. That is going to be a kill onto Sejuani as Gwen is going to follow Killa over the wall here and continually chase down that Pike. Pike gets the hook and trying to get the flip and the E back around. We get Gwen dodging with that footwork and being able to move back onto the support here. But that Pike once again going to be able to get out. Killatron breathing a sigh of relief, but also recognizing the fact that his chase was at the cost of four other champions on the side of GSG Sigma moving up and starting on that Baron.
Yeah, and it looks like it's going to go uncontested for the most part. Freebie. Desi's going to be maybe in some trouble.
Yeah, Desi's trying to Hextech Rocket Belt out. Definitely caught out a little bit. Gonna try to get one last E for desperation into the team and ultimately going to be taken down here. Meanwhile,
Oh,
Gwen's getting
man.
good split on the bot side of the map. That's another kill going over to GSG. This is a huge push that they can use to at least take several inhibitor turrets. Once they take that blue buff, I guess they're gonna start moving into that top lane, getting some pressure out. YYDS, meanwhile, a monster on the bot side. It's gonna take at least two of them to take them out. Killatron in the area getting the stun down. Call and miss not going to do enough. Ultimate going to be tripped. And oh my gosh, the turn right there. YYDS doing so much damage, forcing the Sejuani ult out here. That was a big turn. Killatron underestimating the damage output of the top laner from the side of GSG Sigma.
And it looks like they might just be going for the throat at the moment with breaking the base all the way down. Two inhibs
YYD
gone.
Yeah, YYDS not able to do a whole lot now that ultimate has been blown. But Shanghai similarly, no ultimate of their own, meaning that they kind of work to a stalemate. They get the inhibitor down, and YYDS is going to back off, look to regroup, and continue to find another lane to push and harass so that their team, GSG Sigma, can take this to a game 3.
Yeah, like I said, we're gonna have to wait how it pops off. King's Vow thrown on top of Jinx's head. Pretty sure that was nice Vow. I might be wrong.
Yeah, that is
Looking.
Knight's Vow. There is a pretty interesting set of itemizations we see coming out here. Force of Nature being the third item selected for the Gwen. Gwen obviously showcasing the fact that they do enough damage, that tanking is definitely going to be appreciated as they act as that split pushing threat. We see Shadow Flame as the second pickup for the Epic Champion, which is part of the reason why we're seeing the dominating amount of damage coming out of him, especially against champions like that Sejuani. It's a super valuable pickup. And Victor, also, look at those deaths. So low, due in no small part due to the fact we have that Crown of the Shattered Queen. We have a teleport here in the mid lane and look for a fight. Xin Zhao maybe looking to try to find an engage for the rest of his team right here, but with only the cannon minion, they're going to have to wait for a second wave to come through for them to really get a big fight down onto the rest of the team. YYDS is going to be hooked right here, but that is going to not disturb anyone as Gasyop's going to jump in, get the Lilia down. Shanghai also getting melted right there in front of the turret as the rest of Revolution Ice Age is getting scattered right here. Flash coming out from Killatron, but he's not going to last too much longer. That's a double kill and a
Yeah.
virtual ace on the side of GSG Sigma. They're going to take another inhibitor here, and they may be looking to even take the Nexus itself.
Yeah, the base is completely broken at this point. Like there's very little I think that can be done to stop them from just winning the game here.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
both Nexus towers down, and they're just dumping damage into the Nexus itself from now on. A stun inside of the base. Look at this buffer zone that they are creating. GSG Sigma happy to take away that last game, bringing us to a round 3, everyone.
what a different match from last game, to be perfectly honest. Did not expect that one to go as well as it did for Revolution Ice Age, but here we are. Suppose that we get a chance to see your Talia.
Yeah, GSG Sigma emerging victorious here, going to be tying up this series 1-1 here within the Blue Otter Platinum League here. Week 2, we have the last unclaimed undefeated spot on the line here, and it's going to be one of these two emerging with that title at the end of the night here. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be back with the draft for round 3.
Game 3 series, game 3 series.
is scanning through the sky. You can't believe your senses. You think you've seen it all until you open your eyes. I never wanna be alone. This place is cursed. I want you to never leave my side. I run away with you to see some light.
Welcome back to the Blue Otter League. This is week 2 of the Platinum series, and we are sitting here waiting for game 3 to get underway between GSG Sigma and Revolution Ice Age. We've been seeing incredible plays coming out of both sides in this series so far, and we're hoping that continues here in a dramatic conclusion as we get the band started up here. GSG going with the York band first, Vagar going to be the continual choice on the side of Revolution Ice Age. What do you think we're going to be seeing out of this last game, Feedonomics?
Well, the smart aleck in me wants to say, 7 more bands. Otherwise, I have no clue. Like the table is open. I'm just excited for it, whichever way it goes. Let's see. I want to see. Hmm. I don't know. I still want to technically see the supports play a support that they haven't played yet. I don't want to see Alistar or Pike again, and I think we're still going to. Um, but that would be interesting. I'd like to see that changed up. Same deal, like Aurelia and Vigar banned out. So there's a lot of mad respect in those bands.
Yep, RIA and GSG looking to be locking in a pretty standard set of bans here at the beginning, and this Feedonomics could unfortunately mean that we'll be seeing the same set of support champions here picked in this first set. As GSG is gonna lock in that Jinx once more, worked wonders for them last time on the side of Pepsi of time, and meanwhile we're getting quite the few hovers coming out of RIA. Tristana looking to be the one that they're settling on here.
Vandal Connor, here we come. Let's see. I don't know. It's the unseen hover that is the deadliest, right? So there's a chance that this changes and locks into something else.
Oh, and it is going to be a kindred called once again, Feedonomics. Very good on your part.
Hey,
Now that's obviously a champion that we most likely are going to be seeing in the hands of Levy there in the jungle, but we have been seeing some amount of variations. I had a kindred mid locked in my game. Were they trolling? Maybe. Could we see it in this league? Also, maybe.
would both of those things be true? Like even if we saw it in this league, also maybe.
This is
Um,
definitely a factor, and it looks like that Pike is going to be locked in.
all right,
Killatron getting their comfort pick for a third game in a row.
all right. So there you go. They trust their ability to be able to deal with it like they did last time. Zinzao getting picked up again. There's no Trundle like to sit there and bother him. Maybe I'd like to see a Jarvan on the side of RIA. Yep, there we go. There's the Alistar. I don't get to have any fun.
Yeah, Revolution Ice Age at a bit of a crossroads here at the end of this draft. If we assume that it's going to be Kindred versus Xin Zhao in that jungle, it's going to be a question of whether or not they're going to lock into their ADC, and it looks like they will here. A pretty quick choice of the Vayne. Could have been interesting to see MXL go back onto the Zeri again, as they were pretty effective even in that last game. But ultimately, there is a little bit of variation down there in the bot lane, and that's always going to be a pleasure to witness going forward. We're setting up for the second rounds of bands here now.
No, I actually really like the Vayne pick. If only because true damage into Alistar ult is not fun for Alistar. Still a lot of damage.
That Victor going to be banned out. It looks like Revolution Ice Age don't want to have to deal with the Epic Champion on that pick once more here. We were talking a little bit during the break here, Feedonomics, about that matchup between Epic Champion and DesZZ. DesZZ coming out a little bit bullied and unable to impact the game in both of the prior matches. It'll be interesting to see what RA decides to put their mid laner on to maybe change that dynamic around a little bit, especially given the fact that there is a pretty large rank gap between the two of them in solo queue.
Yeah, and we have it finishing up. No Corki for Desi this game either. Or well, Set banned out the other way. I'm getting my bands crossed now. No Corky at all, like for either team at this point. So it's completely irrelevant to keep talking about Corky and droning on about it. I'm gonna stop. Singed banned out on GSG's side. Can't say that I expected that.
Nor did I expect the Nico ban. Obviously, Talia getting through the ban phase, but unfortunately, the early confirmation of the Kindred means that I don't think we will be seeing Levy take up that champ within this series. A tragedy to be sure, but Cassiopeia going to be the answer to my question from earlier. Des ZZ going to be on this relatively weak early game champion that could really turn into a monster later on. Maybe some echoes of game one, given their choice of the Corki here. What do you think about Des ZZ piloting the Snake Girl?
Yeah, I guess it'll depend on who we have come out on the side of GSG for mid lane, which we'll see. We'll see here momentarily. Though Cassio W is pretty good against a couple of their champions, like Zen will not be able to leap, and Alistar will not be able to headbutt in the circumstances on that. Really, Camille won't be able to dash either, so it ended up working out kind of in their favor. And like I said, but we have Syndra again. That was going to be something that I thought like that's not going to be that fun.
Syndra, a huge bully in that early game, especially in the hands of Epic Champion, who was able to completely shut out Corki from influencing Revolution Ice Age within that first round. It'll be interesting to see with DesiZ having a little bit more experience now against Epic Champion, whether or not this will finally play out different for the side of IRA as they are going to lock in their last pick of a Shen top going up against that Camille.
Yeah, and I mean Shin, I really always have liked Shin. Shin is a fun champion that people remember is really good right around championship time, like in any league, because they're like, maybe a global shield is nice. Like it could work out. It could work out to help us out. So they're definitely trying to give Cassiopeia ways to survive. With the Kindred ult, with the Shin ult, and then the other two players are just going to be extremely greedy and try and get kills. Like they're full gas pedal murder people, right?
Yeah, I think that Shen here is a really, really nice pick as it will help to shore up some of the little dangerous matchups that we might see in the early game. Kindred obviously needs to get those camps, needs to get those marks in order to scale up. And Cassiopeia, as we've seen before, is going to have an uphill battle. The Epic Champion just being so good on that Syndra, and Cassio just not being a champion that does a whole lot before they hit their 1 to 2 item power spike. So Shenold going to be a huge boon going forward, especially now that we have in this season those teleport changes that just prevent Camille from really being able to match the kind of map presence that Shen will have as we go deep into game 3.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like trying to look for synergy on both teams, right? And just GSG Sigma, I guess they're all about killing, getting Jinx reset, just like instantly deleting somebody with Syndra combo. I mean, Xin Zhao jumping onto the back line. Well, on the side of RIA, you've got kind of the same deal, right? Like Kindred, if they get ahead, Pike if they're doing really well, and Vayne, all really good at murdering. While Cassiopeia has a little bit of survivability with being able to freeze people in place, but and her heal on E. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I like Epi was playing Syndra and that Victor game very well, so I'm just worried about that mid lane. And I'm scared.
I'm scared as well. It's always crazy going into game 3 because you never know what's going to be happening. There's a lot of pressure on both of these teams as they are vying for the top spot within the Blue Otter League here. We're going to be getting through the client draft itself now, and I guess it'll be interesting to see whether or not we see any variation. Perhaps a Vayne top is in order, something along those lines. We could have Kindred Shen bot for all we know. There's a lot to talk about here and a lot to think through as we go forward. It does look like Shanghai High is going to live up to their name, at least the first four letters of it, go into that top lane with the Shen, Levy on Kindred. No big surprises there.
Yeah, and Wawa DS on Camille, we expected that. Sinzao in the jungle, Epi on Syndra, but that might be a bot lane Cassiopeia.
Ooh, so there is a little bit of spiciness here. I do like this choice actually. DesZZ going to be playing a pretty big glass cannon in that mid lane, but will be able to play the early game a little bit better than if they were fully locked into the Cassiopeia. Putting them in the bot lane with that Pike, I think, is going to be a big test for MXL. This is the first time we're going to be seeing them not on a marksman, but rather on an AP champion. And Pepsi of Time being on that Jinx, having some of that range. Oh, what's happening here? We're getting a weird variation of hovers. Okay, the Cassiopeia gonna go in. No changes and no mess ups within draft lore or anything like that for those of you who are just tuning in. Um, this is going to be about like now what we expected, but that bot lane definitely going to be a little bit more interesting than I thought at first.
Hmm. Yeah, that being said, still doesn't make me not terrified for Desi. Like, Vayne is just a Corki that can't Valkyrie. When you think
Uh,
about it, right? Like, Vayne is Corki, but with a dash that doesn't go as far.
I think that this is true, but also given how strong Vayne is right now, I think that we might be underestimating their ability to play the early game pretty decently. Syndra obviously has a lot of ability to poke, and it is going to be range v range, so it isn't going to be anything crazy like what we sometimes see with the range versus melee matchups in the top lane. Vayne not going to have that luxury. So definitely also going to be an area of focus. Xin Zhao, also just being such a high pressure jungler, is really going to force Desi to think hard about tracking, really rely on their team in order to get vision, and just generally work more as a coordinated hub than what we have been seeing in the past two games from the side of Revolution Ice Age.
Like I said, I'm I'm terrified for them. Like, Killatron's gonna have to come mid like frequently and effectively. I think for this game to kind of turn out in their favor. They, aside from Shin, they all kind of just explode. Like, literally just get poked and they just disintegrate, right? Like, I
Mhm.
I don't know. I guess it depends on Cassiopeia's itemization.
A lot of good engages as well on the side of GSG here. So maybe Feedonomics, you are going to be kind of answering my own question already. But out of these two teams in this final set of drafts, who do you think comes out with the advantage from the pick and ban?
I like GSG's comp more, yeah.
I think I would
Um
tend to agree here.
I feel like they have kind of the high ground now. Um with with playing, I don't know. I just, the whole fact that 4 out of 5 of their champions at any given time could just pop like a balloon. Once again, it could be 3.5. Just, it depends on what items Cassiopeia decides to buy for themselves.
Uh-huh. A lot of dramatic fights is definitely in the works as we move into game three here between GSG and RIA here in the Blue Otter Platinum League. For those of you who just tuned in, we are going to game three. This is going to be the deciding battle, and we are going to be here casting it right after we move to this quick break. It is the final round here in the Blue Otter League between GSG Sigma and Revolution Ice Age, vying for that top spot in this Platinum League here. And
Oh,
in
here we
terms
go.
of
Bot
doing
lane,
so,
look
we
out.
have a hunger for an invade on the side of Revolution
Already
Ice Age
sniffed out.
coming through
Already
here.
sniffed out.
Yeah, they may look to disengage here. There is a ward in that tri-bush as well, but Killatron really hungry, has that hook, looking for a play. Nothing going to come of it. They're going to get the disengage.
They also got a cheaty ward on the enemy red buff as well. So they'll have vision on whichever side that Levy decides to start on, and we'll be able to punish it more likely than not.
They are eager for that invade, though. They didn't walk over any vision going through this top side over the pixel bush here, so they may still have the ability to try to secure a kill or even that first buff for Levy, but after getting some vision, they're ultimately just going to back off. And once again, we get the double bot side start and leash.
Yep. So the start of Desi needs to always know where the jungle is. Like Revenge Shore is going pretty well. We do see like the Zinzao starting red. It's another standard start where they both start on the same side. There you go. Desi won the trade. Game over.
Yeah, and speaking of winning trades, Shanghai going to be using that blade to get a little bit of damage down onto YYDS. Camille obviously been a terror in the top lane for so many years now. It's kind of hard to keep track of when exactly she was just the number one choice here. Pike gonna get a hook in. This is a classic trade we've been seeing a lot coming through. This is level 1, so isn't going to be able to use the E to immediately get the stun down onto Bean credit, but that trade definitely going in the favor of Revolution Ice Age.
Yeah, and like we'll have to watch it. Obviously, that won't become too effective of a fight up topside.
Yeah, there's this taunt coming through, but YYDS going to just be using their buttons to get a little bit of damage back onto Shanghai. Definitely an advantage going
shield.
over to the side of RIA, though, and I'm surprised that YYDS right there want to continue that trade as the Camille. Oh man, that's a big dash into top. This is going to be a lot of damage coming through. YYDS going to be very low in front of a huge wave starting to crash out onto that tower. It'll be interesting to see if we're going to get an early dive. But speaking of diving, we have the Alistar going in and another fight on the top side as well. There's drama all over the map now. Levy going to be dead in first blood going over to the side of GSG.
Oh no, Desi.
Yeah, Desi came up, maybe trying to look for some help here. Gassy up right behind them, though. That is a big trade coming down, and that's a lot of damage going over to
He's
the
dead.
side of Champion. But that Ignite
No!
going to barely allow for them to stabilize as YYDS comes into there. Shanghai going to follow alongside. That is a big auto, a Condemn coming down, but that's only going to be pushing away Camille from the Shen, which means that we're still leaving the game with no kills onto the side of Revolution Ice Age.
Desi's just going for a pacifism run this game. Didn't want to see anybody else get hurt.
Get away from the shed! I'm saving you! No, I mean, I still think that the Condemn was correct there. I don't think that it was a full troll of Shanghai or anything, given the fact that Hookshot was coming back up on the side of the Camille regardless. But at the same time, this could have gone a little bit better for the side of RIA. Maybe if Shanghai came down a little bit faster, something along those lines. But also, this is just kind of what's expected. Gasyop is going to get that early advantage over the marksman in the jungle. Levy going to have to play back a little bit further on the Kindred now.
Yeah, and what we didn't notice about Flash used bot lane. What we didn't notice about the matchup with the Kindred is they are running Ignite to try and help out with some kill pressure in the jungle, just in case they do run afoul of a Zen. But it obviously didn't matter the first time.
Yeah, Headbutt Pulverize coming out here. Killatron doing that classic trading pattern, though. I wonder whether or not Bean Credit is just kind of happy to accept the fact that he's never going to be able to get the full confirm onto the Pike, just because Pike always ease out, and is just kind of utilizing that as a trading pattern, as it's basically expected from Killatron at this point. But Pike coming out here, trying to interrupt a few backs, going to get the hook down onto Pepsi time. No real kills. Everyone was pretty high health, and now
really
we are getting more fights on that top side of the map. Shanghai just consistently going in against the Camille, getting a bit of a health advantage there too. That looks like they're fighting within the wave. YYD is going to run behind that wall of caster minions, though. Going to drop some pots, heal up a little bit, and continue to keep the fire going there at the top side of the map.
Yeah. Oh. But we got more action down here at bot, and like once again, headbutt getting kind of negated by the grounded effect.
Yeah, Cassiopeia going low, but really positioning themselves well. MXL just knowing that if they make it out of the lane alive, that they're going to be a real threat on the Rift. Shanghai getting more trades. We do have Levy up here on the top side of the
Here
map,
it
maybe
comes.
looking for an engage as Shanghai's going to go low. We have the taunt coming through, and that's going to put YYDS in a dangerous situation, trying to trade back, but Shanghai going to get the kill down before too much damage is dropped onto them in the top lane. That's a kill, evening up the score right now. We do have Gassy up in the area, maybe trying to get past the wall of Levy to get to and kill that Shen, but ultimately nothing looks like it's going to come of it.
Yeah, just kind of showing up for moral support. Feel bad for his dead brethren. But nothing else kind of happening down there. Was that a stack for Kindred though? That's the real question.
I'm
Doesn't
not really
look
sure
like
who
it.
had it on. I don't know whether or not that hover of Xinjiao was from before there. We are getting a kind of low pike here, though. We have been seeing this kind of pattern occur where even if they get a hook onto Pepsi of Time, they aren't able to secure the E. And another trade coming through that is
There it
finally able to
was.
head pulverize, though, onto MXL. And look at how low the stakes are we going to be going. It looks like we're going to be seeing Pike trying to peel off here, using the W to get away from the rest of the fight here. But Cassiopeia having to burn both of their summoner spells in that exchange.
Yeah, once again, like that time Bean played it perfectly. Waited until he was tugged and then followed up with the headbutt pulverize onto MXL.
Kilotron being such a thorn in this side of Pepsi of Time. That is the third time this game, I think, that we've seen him interrupt a back with that hook potential. Not even using the E, reserving that for an escape, just constantly trying to be a bug here, as now we have Cassiopeia back in lane, was able to buy off of their death, which means that we could be seeing further aggression in the bot side of the map. But speaking of aggression, Shanghai doing everything in their power to keep this Camille down and keep an advantage for the side of Revolution Ice Age.
And an angry little bee came out on the side of Camille. YYDS was not happy. They missed that hook shot.
Yeah, YYDS having to play a little bit further back. Continuously, the push of the wave is coming into them, which honestly they can be fine with. It doesn't look like they're down too much CS. They aren't really hard inting or feeding anyone here, so they're happy to just kind of wait for that mid game, get into team fights, isolate someone from the rest of them using their ultimate, and get a start to a snowball for the side of GSG Sigma. That is a taunt coming through, though. That is going to be a lot of damage trade back onto YYDS once again, and they're going to continue to go in. That's going to be the hook shot coming through, cutting across the side of the wave from Shanghai and getting a little bit of damage traded back onto them, just trying to whittle down the health of Shen to make sure that a dive doesn't occur. YYDS kind of happy to just continue to receive those waves at tower for the time being. Rift Herald is notably up alongside the Dragon here, so you have a lot of neutral objectives that would benefit heavily from players on both sides getting priority of their lanes. DesCZ playing this really well, getting a lot of really good rolls out against Syndra, which means that you are getting a pretty even mid lane, a lot of pressure from the top and a lot of pressure from the bot side for RIA. Overall, they may be the ones that have the best claim to the river at this point.
Yeah, like we were discussing during the spectator delay, like as long as the smaller Valkyrie tumbles more often, then we'd probably get some benefits from it. Looking at from a CS standpoint, though, like obviously Vayne isn't going to be ahead of Syndra, and same deal with Cassiopeia with an Alistar.
Yeah, we have another set of action from the top lane where you do have Shanghai on that CS lead over YYDS. Being up about half of a health bar against their lane partner here means that we could be seeing them look for an engage as this wave is going to start pushing back into them once more. But we also have some action on the bot side of the map. We're going to get the Condemn down onto the Syndra as we get a clustering of people around the Dragon here. This is going to probably go over to the side of GSG. Not too much contestation from the side of Revolution Ice Age. But top side, we have YYDS continually being taken low. Going to try to back in front of their tower. They do have their ultimate ready to go if Shen wants to look for an engage. And notably, both have TP. So no offensive summoner spells to really assist either side with killing the other.
Unless Kindred comes up to talk. Oh,
Oh,
but
and there's a headbutt pulverized down onto MXL, and that is going to be a dead snake coming through. Gassiop playing that really magnificently alongside Bean Credit, being able to split off Killatron from the rest of the group. Killatron moving a little bit too far forward to try to get that harass onto Pepsi of time, and ultimately that is going to be 2 kills more over to GSG Sigma.
yeah, and not. Let's see who grabbed both of those. Okay, I mean, I don't want to give it to Zinzao, nor would I want to give it to Jinx. So like, neither of those scenarios are good in this case. The Gore Drinker already finished. Yeah, Gore Drinker already finished for Zin.
And if you are Desi on the side of RIA, that is definitely something to worry about, because so far you have been holding down the fort, and if you come out of lane relatively even, maybe even down 20 CS against the Syndra, you are probably a happy camper. But now that you have Gassiop so far ahead with that Gore Drinker already built, there is a high propensity for you to just get dove mid, even from full health, given how squishy of a champion you are. More drama in the top lane, though.
Oh, tower hit.
Yeah, that is one tower hit being traded back, making everything about even. The classic way that top lane continues to go. Killatron unperturbed by that fight from earlier, continuing to get
Oh.
hooks down, and now Levy's getting a lot of
The
damage
Ignite's
down
gonna come
onto
out.
the epic champion. That marksman really doing some damage. Wow,
yeah.
walking right back into Kindred ult there. That was an incredible play by Levy, but Gassiop is going to be going on a rampage, going to be able to clean up after the Lamb's respite drops.
I do think, however, that was a stack for Kindred that time, though. Oh!
Yeah, Desi gonna be able to get a lot of damage traded on here, but
But not
Gassiop just
enough.
too darn fed, going unstoppable here. This is a big jungler on the side of GSG Sigma.
Yeah, and like we see on the ping right now, challenging smite was definitely what happened right there to finish off the Vayne.
A stun coming out. Shen gonna be pushed up against the wall right there against YYDS, but still kind of happy to take the advantage that they have in terms of health. YYDS definitely taking a lot of rough trades in the top side of the map, just trying to maintain the CS that they have. Meanwhile, we have Levy moving around to the bot side, perhaps setting up a gank after getting a clear around there. It would be really fantastic to try to get Desi ahead in that mid lane as they're going to return after the wave is pushing towards Syndra.
Oh, just getting more and more of those grasp stacks. Both top laners actually using grasp.
Yeah, Shanghai going maybe a little bit too deep there. YYDS
Nope.
seeing it opening, but just gonna flash on top of the Camille. Camille barely getting
So
out with
much
their
going
life
on.
intact right there. Killatron over here with the presence of Xinjiao trying to find a way to pull back against this incredibly aggressive pike play. Being credit also posturing here, maybe looking for a headbutt pulverize, but this is just going to lead to a disengage from the side of Revolution Ice Age, moving back towards their tower.
And Shanghai probably getting his first turret plate. Happy about that. It's maybe gonna be the only one that he gets. Otherwise, yeah, not a lot of plates going down for either team.
Yeah, about a
Actually.
1k gold lead off of 3 kills ahead on the side of GSG Sigma, so definitely not a big advantage being built either way quite yet. I will say Shanghai has been doing a really good job in the lane, is going up a bit of CS, but it must be frustrating that so far he has not been able to translate those positive trades into much more than a single kill against YYDS. I think that perhaps what we just saw right there with that flash onto them may have been a little bit of a sign of frustration. It'll be interesting to see whether or not the side of GSG Sigma may attempt to exploit that fact. We may be seeing Gassiop trying to move into that area, get that Camille back to parity with that champion.
Yeah, that's something that could happen, but like you were saying, that CS advantage is just getting more and more of a discrepancy on it. So even if it'll need to be a couple of kills to get him even more than one.
Yeah, Taunt coming through here, a little bit of a trade coming back, but
Oh,
Camille has the items. That's a big flash pulverize for the side
Lamb's
of
Respite.
GSG. For the side of GSG, as they're going to
Ooh.
they're going to be putting the Lamb's Rest, but that's going to be a lot of people low on the side of IRA now. They're trying to find a way to take down this Gassiup, who's so high, and ultimately that is going to be a secured kill. Gassiup going to be able to take down
Oh, the
Cassiopeia in
Jinx.
time, and this is still a lot of damage being pumped out by the side of GSG Sigma. But frankly, that could have gone a lot worse if you are Revolution Ice Age, as another ultimate comes out. Killatron once again bringing things as even as you possibly can if you are Ice Age.
Yeah, no, really, really good combo of ultimates there. The Lamb Respite on top of the Petrifying Gaze. Like, I'm pretty sure it stunned 2 to 3 people in that fight. Like it was just well placed, kind of reinforcing the fact on why you shouldn't fight Cassiopeia in like a choke.
Yeah, a lot of people were funneled towards that ultimate, and the combination of that plus the fact that you were able to get everyone around that Lamb's Respite meant that even for a team who was starting to fall behind, especially against Gassiop, you were able to get that shutdown back down and get a lot of valuable gold distributed out across the side of Revolution Ice Age, who are now actually ahead due to that Pike multiplier.
I think the other thing that we missed on that is Shin did ult down in that fight. And so his safeguard, like, or his sword zone of please don't hit me, was really effective against Jessup too.
Yeah, speaking of
However,
zones, we do have the isolation coming out. YYDS going to be taken down by the combined forces of Gassiop and and YYDS. Shen going to finally be gone from the lane. This is going to be giving the Camille a little bit of time to grab some CS, scale back up. Levy going to come into the area though to prevent them from pushing down that tower.
yeah, but I'm wondering if no, that'll be a free Rift Herald for the side of GSG.
Yeah, GSG has to be pretty happy with how things are playing out so far. They are ahead on kills, maybe a little bit behind on gold, but their presence across the map has been pretty dominating so far. The Epic Champion definitely kind of happy also to shoulder less of the burden this game, not really having to move out of their lane. They have been happy to just farm it up against DesZ, but in turn, DesZ themselves on the side of Revolution Ice Age have been doing a lot to maintain parity within that lane, and so coming out later, it'll be interesting to see whether or
Ooh,
not we get a big vein. But talking about big, right here we have Killatron getting a kill onto Pepsi. A big change back in the top side. We're going to be seeing that big Shen ulti coming through. That's going to go down, and it's going to allow for a secured kill against the Syndra. Gassiop now in the area, trying to prevent too much of a crash onto the tower from Shanghai and Desi.
uh-oh. Yeah, no, that was actually beautifully executed by MXL and Killatron there, using the Q to pull him onto the grounded zone, so that they couldn't flash away immediately, and that was just enough to allow the execute.
Definitely.
All right, here we
Big
go,
plays
another
across
fight.
the map for Revolution Ice Age, but that may be changing the fortunes of people here as Levy is going to go pretty darn low. They have
Yeah.
Rhymes Respite up, but are deciding to not pop it as they're going to be taken out by YYDS. Meanwhile, we have Shanghai in the area as well, eventually going to be taken out by the combined forces of Bean Credit, Gassiop, and YYDS on the side of GSG Sigma. That is 2 more deaths and a lot more money being funneled back towards the side of Sigma here. They definitely want to maintain an even level of gold as you go deeper on into this game. Xinjiao obviously not having the same scaling potential as Levy means that unless they continue to get those kills, continue to get that advantage, you're going to start seeing RIA slowly pull ahead as we go deeper on.
Okay, a little bit of indecision on what we wanted to buy on Levy. We had the Gale Force completed, and then they sold it back so that they could finish Kraken Slayer again. I guess more just going for, I want to kill the tanky people so I can get to the squishy people as fast as possible.
Yeah, probably what we're seeing right there. It is cool to see everyone's items beginning to come online here, partially because we're about to get the Baron spawned up here in this game, and we move into that kind of crucial 20-minute mark where you can really start to take stock of who's pulling ahead of whom. Shanghai, happy to play it out on the top side of the map. They do have that ultimate open if there is going to be a play somewhere, and we are moving into that minute range before the next dragon spawns. So that will probably be where the Shen will look to put their focus on after they get these waves pushed topside.
Really quick, just gonna go peep down here. We got another Cloud Drake. Will be the Soul. How do you feel about Cloud Drake on either of these teams? Like, who would you rather not have it if you were playing against the comp?
I really think that it'll be a boon for the side of GSG Sigma, especially given the fact that for them to be efficacious in team fights, especially as more and more damage comes dropped down from the likes of Levy, MXL, and Desi, I think that what you want to do is just have the ability for Gassiop to stay on top of the carries and get there in a faster manner alongside the lines of Bean Credit, who's going to get a big
another
headbutt
good
pulverize to
ult.
start this fight off. That is a large amount of damage going down. Pike immediately going to be taken out here. That is Lamb's Respite being dropped. Everyone kind of clustered around that center point, but Levy going to get healed up, but it's not going to be enough. Shanghai is going to take down YYDS in turn, though, but with that double kill, Vayne starting to really pop off here. Desi getting a lot of work done. Gassiop also going down, and now it's the Epic Champion being the last one left alive. That is going to be the ace coming out, a quadra kill coming out from Desi in the mid lane. All that farming up mid, all that patience finally paying off here in the third game.
Desi waking up after that first bout of pacifism, choosing violence, obviously.
Yeah, sometimes you just wake up and gotta choose the violence, and in this way it manifested as a 4-in-1 Vayne mid here. Has that shield bow popped in the last round, but it doesn't matter. They're going to be backing with a whole lot of gold in their pocket.
Yeah, that's probably gonna be a finished Rage Blade, right? Like I would
Imagine
say.
here. Yeah. Itemization in general, pretty darn good on the side of Revolution Ice Age. They are getting the Shen fully on that tanky build here, going Sunfire first, allowing for them to access the front line against people like Bean Credit, like Gassiop, and in turn we just saw what that kind of front to back can do in terms of Revolution Ice Age's damage and output.
Right. So now, if you're Epi, you're like rushing Shadow Flare, right? Yeah, that's probably what's coming out next.
Headbutt Pulverize coming out here. Killatron trying to move
Oh
away,
my
but look at
goodness.
that hook shot over the wall. That is a very low Pike in the area. Levy going to be the one that's ultimately isolated, though. So that's a kill down onto the side of the RIA now. GSG trying to find a way back into this game. Definitely getting picks where they can here, but Desi going unstoppable as they take down the Camille. Gassiop in the area trying to get away to take down this Vayne, but Vayne able to stay on the periphery of that fight. That is going to be a big headbutt Pulverize, and we see the proccing his shield, but ultimately that's a shutdown. Xin Zhao managing to stay alive long enough with the help of their ultimate to prevent the Vayne from snowballing forward. That is a bad set of trades there for Revolution Ice Age. They gotta watch out now.
Yeah, that's definitely maybe grew to a little too proud right there. They need to breathe on it for a second and sort of regain their composure.
Yeah, you had the start of some good plays coming through there. Killatron always looking for this plays, always on the prowl, but unfortunately in this situation, that just led to YYDS springing the trap, jumping over that wall, and getting to confirm first onto him and then onto Levy. Levy trying to find a little bit of revenge here, going to be chasing down Champion. Champion now the one not looking like they're going to be able to influence much of the map from here on out without the help of their team. We get the teleport into the area of the Camille, but at that point the play is already over. It's a little bit too late.
Looking at for stacks, we have 4 marks. Ladies and gentlemen, we have hit 4 marks. So, yeah. 75 attack range. Real 80 carry now.
A real AD carry to be sure, and we're seeing that full damage build being built out on champions like Cass, like Kindred, like Vayne here. It looks like RIA, even after that last little turn in the fight, are truly trying to just put their best foot forward, gain dominance in these team fights, play well with their spacing, and just try to shoot down anyone who comes towards these sets of carries.
I mean, and you know, Nyarko, what the best form of CC is, right?
Death, obviously.
Death, obviously. Yes, exactly. Death is the best form of it. Oh, the hook, but nothing comes from it.
Yeah. Honestly, Killer has been doing such a good job just using those cues as a source of harassment alongside a source of engage and CC for the side of RIA here. They're continuously able to utilize the vision control that Ice Age has been able to secure across the map to make sure that nobody's able to kind of rest on their laurels in this game. But that being said, GSG Sigma, they still hold that kill lead. They're about even in gold, and we saw their ability to continue to pick people off. We were still standing on a relatively even game here, as now we're getting a movement around the Baron. Being Credit leading the charge
Oh.
in. That is going to be a grounding, trying to go for a headbutt pulverize, but is going to have to walk back out of there. Epic Champion
Another
going way too
really
low. MXL going to be getting the first kill of this fight, as Lance Respite's going to go down. A lot of people being invulnerable. Vayne going to get the shutdown onto Xinjiao, though, maybe a little bit too far forward within the isolation chamber, but look at this. The rest of the team is going to move around Desi right now. That's a double kill going over to the Vayne. The scattering of GSG here is going to be disastrous, as this could be the Baron.
Yeah, that's gonna be an easy Baron buff. There's no way not to go for that in that scenario, right? The Shin Shield also coming through just amazingly. Like there have been a few really good Shin ults this game that have just kept his target alive. That time it was the Camille.
Yeah, most definitely. We saw the ability to continuously get clusters of people on Revolution Ice Age's side to just stay alive for longer than they should be, whether that be through the Kindred ultimate, whether that be through the Shen ultimate. And in turn, this means that you have some unstoppable killing machines coming through. The fact that they had to face check that pixel bush on the top side of the map meant that Bean Credit went down early before being able to do a whole lot for the team. And in turn, you get not only the Baron taken, but also the soul point being taken for the side of Revolution Ice Age.
Yeah. So now we have the vice grips in. Now we just need to twist them down to secure the victory, right?
Of course. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of pathways forward for the side of Revolution Ice Age, and that's going to be an attempt to get an engage on the side of GSG Sigma. The headbutt pulverize coming in, but I don't think it's going to be enough, as you have so many people low. That is a huge
I don't know. It looks like it was
Camille's
enough.
in the area. They're splitting up the rest of the team. That's a double kill going over to the Jinx. This is exactly the fight that GSG Sigma needed to get back into this game. That's a lot of Baron buffs gone. Killatron gonna have to W their way out of this whole situation now.
No, Camille, are you okay?
No, then oh, no! Ultimate Killatron going to get the double kill onto the side of Revolution Ice Age. What an incredible, what an incredible display of confidence Killatron there. Getting this back to, not necessarily even, but at least getting a little bit more gold back to their teammates, back to the side of Revolution Ice Age after what was initially a disastrous attempt at a team fight.
You just gotta fake it until you make it, man. Like that's exactly what that was. Oh, I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me, is basically what Killatron just said.
Yeah, YYDS just not paying attention to Pyke's cooldowns. Didn't realize that that hook was going to be up. So when they stood under that tower, got a few hits in, tried to look for a dive, and in turn began to take that tower aggro, you had Pyke come in here, recognize that their ult was up, and get that hook down, get a few more tower shots landed onto the Camille, and an ultimate ult coming through. And look at that, the Pyke, level 13, at even with the top laner on the side of GSG Sigma. That's not something you want to see, especially as you still have them maintaining the Baron buff and working kind of as a hub for the side of Revolution Ice Age, at least for the next few moments.
Yeah, I mean, he's played a great Pyke each game.
And now we have a little bit of a death bush being set up. It looks like everyone has vision of everyone else, or at least they have suspicions about what's going on. As another team fight comes through here, Bean Credit gonna go super low. MXL kind of stuck in that red pit, is going to be killed, and now we have Lamb's Respite coming down, but we have that scattering occurring once again here, as another big team fight is going to go over in favor of GSG Sigma. This time Pyke doesn't have anywhere to run. They don't have the ability to get that cheese under tower. That's going to be the double kill. Revenge for YYDS and GSG Sigma.
Yeah, really, I guess they just sniffed out the danger bush. and we're just prepared for it. So this is going to turn into definitely an inhib, if not more.
Yeah, those death timers are scarily long right here. Shanghai realizing that he has to hang pretty darn far back right here and is going to do so. It looks like the side of GSG Sigma are going to be satisfied with that choice to go for a singular inhib and in turn will just ravage the jungle, maybe look to take those towers top and bot at the same time, but all the champions are now back up for RIA.
Yeah, no, I mean, we got the game that we were after, right? All besides Italia.
Basically, yeah, this is definitely an action and drama fueled fight right here. So many interesting team fights, a lot of attempts to set up not necessarily cheesy strats, but definitely aggressive plays on either side. And so far, it looks like the majority of them are beginning to flow over to the side of GSG Sigma. That last one in the forest, for instance, really could have gone in the way of Revolution Ice Age if they weren't positioned so oddly. You had MXL stuck in the red buff pit down there in the bot side of the map, and unfortunately that just wasn't able to translate into much of anything. But now another fight, as I was speaking about how aggressive these teams are being, we have a lot of fights over the wall right here. The Shen continuously trying to stay. They're going to eventually dash over, and now it's going to force Bean Credit to flash back out after attempting to get ahead. But that is a big ultimate coming through. Killatron once again spotting people out, getting the double. That's a big shutdown. A lot of gold spread across everyone else. That's Bean Credit now running for his life away from this Pike.
Not gonna get away.
That ultimate out once again. Gonna hit them right with the edge right there. A triple kill for the Pike. Meanwhile, the epic champion here in the mid lane, just away from the rest of the team, is going to be taken out by the side of Revolution Ice Age. This is a lot of kills now. Only the Jinx is alive. Meanwhile, 2 members of RIA being taken down.
We'll see if, let's check on the cooldown for Death Rocket. 10 seconds. Here in a second or so.
Yeah, and look what this fight has cost to the side of GSG Sigma. This is going to be soul claimed on the side of Revolution Ice Age right there. That is the kind of team fight that they were looking for. A little bit more open, a little bit more room for people like MXL to spread their, well, I was going to say spread their legs, but they are on Cassiopeia. But basically, you were able to get the engages that you want and dictate that fight on your own terms. And when you get that front to back manifested out there, you could just see the amount of damage that you have RAA able to put down.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens here. We have Jinx going back. Let's take another quick look at items, see what we've got going on. Like I said, Shadow Flame was definitely purchased by Epi. Tired of those shields. Pretty traditional Cassiopeia build. I don't know. Jinx is pretty big too.
Yeah,
Like,
Jinx does have a lot of gold on her, has that completed Infinity Edge, and definitely going to be that carry that GSG Sigma will desperately need, especially now that we have another Baron up and we have both sides kind of hungering for the win here in this last round.
whew, that was a lot of damage.
A lot of damage for basically nothing here.
It was what, like a W and a W?
Basically, something along those lines. We do have this river priority now beginning to manifest itself for the side of Revolution Ice Age. We have this big grouping of GSG Sigma trying to brute force their way in. They now have that site in the river that's going to be hook landing down. A big taunt coming out here. And now Killa is going to go pretty darn low. Won't be able to act as much of a front line anymore. It'll be difficult for them to get enough priority over the side of GSG Sigma. And that's in turn going to allow for this set of players to move back into the mid lane, make sure that press is continuing on with those super minions, and they're starting to work to zone off the rest of Revolution Ice Age. Oh, that is a big mistake.
But he
missed. Going to get headbutt, but that is going to be a whiffed Alistar combo, allowing for the Lamb to get away here. And now we just have Shanghai in the area, standing on the outside. They don't have vision of the pit, except for that one little ward we see in the back behind the Baron here. They know what's going on. Shanghai gonna go across. That's a huge 4-man taunt coming through, but no real big follow struggle up until now. Cassiopeia gonna get that grounding coming in. Xin Zhao going forward, getting that ult to knock and scatter people away from one
You're
another.
down already,
But this
though.
isn't going to be enough. Lamb's Respite not coming out here. Jinx is going to be able to get the double kill, and now they move forward to try to finish off the last few members of the side of Revolution Ice Age. That is a big isolation coming through. MXL just going to be caught out here. Pepsi of Time going godlike. That is a humongous Jinx, and with the fact that you already have this wave at the Nexus Towers, this is probably the end of the game.
It looks like it's game. They're already waving the flags.
Yeah, waving the flags is definitely the case. Inhibitor did respawn, giving them a few more seconds to try to get up here, but look at how long those death timers are. We are at the 35-minute mark within this game. YYDS coming forward, making sure Pi can't do anything and putting more damage onto their side of GSG Sigma as they are going to emerge victorious here. This is going to be our 2-0 team right here in the Blue Water League.
Yeah, that was a great game. We thought for a moment that was going to turn out like the other way. Desi though definitely played a great Vayne. Did not expect it to play as well as it did in the beginning. That quadra kill propelling them basically into being able to contend.
Yeah, it definitely is crazy how lopsided the matchups we've seen in the mid lane were throughout these 3 games. Revolution Ice Age was struggling in those first 2 rounds. The Corki just getting bullied massively, especially in that first game against the Syndra. But this time around, it was the Epic Champion who was really stopped from being too utility focused on the side of GSG Sigma. Just wasn't able to get the damage or crowd control in, was often the first person burst down. But ultimately, I don't really know how much that mid mattered on either side. Revolution Ice Age coming ahead there in that last game, but ultimately you just had so much CC and solid engage and pick potential coming through from GSG Sigma's comp, and the way that they confidently strode into various situations that could have ended disastrously for them, took that coin flip, took those team fights, and came out on top is a testament to their coordination. And it'll be exciting to see how they continue to protect their record of 2-0 moving into the later weeks within Blue Water League.
Yeah, and week 3, let's take a look at it really quick. You've got CB Rush playing against GSG Sigma, and then Revolution Ice Age is going to be playing against CB Ruby. So excited to watch those games play out. Not quite sure who I'm picking for each side yet. I kind of throw darts at a board as far as my predictions are concerned so far. Because that's the way to be the most fun. But thanks for tuning in with us, guys. Like, do you have any parting words or gifts for our friends that were watching from home, Narco?
I can't really say I bring much in the way of gifts for anyone, but what I will say here is that I want to tell everyone to continue to support the stream. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I'm Nyarko here with Feedonomics on comms, and a big shout out to Pop Tart Deluxe for performing all of this wonderful production that you saw for us today. We will continue to be bringing you these high quality games from the Blue Otter Platinum series throughout the next few weeks, and I look forward to casting and presenting going forward.
Thank you, friends, and